And now we play the patient game. I love playing the patient game. I'm gonna try something. Again, it's gonna be a lot of copying and pasting. Okay, that's my channel's dashboard. I don't want that. Do I have two? First off, turn that off. There we go. Mute that. Once again, we're just gonna play the patient game for a bit. Hello there, Mac. Finally here for a live. About time, Mac. We're going to be watching some spookiness. And by spookiness, you're going to see my facial reaction because I don't know how to get both my face and the computer at the same time. That's going to be a fun challenge to deal with. Anyway, Mac, hope you're having a good night. We'll start the creepy pasta stuff in a good couple minutes. Five people watching. Thank you all for coming by. Gonna be doing some creepy pastas today. Gonna test to see how this works, and then maybe I will try to do some more creepy pasta stuff in the future. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Now comes the fun part, trying to get all the Crit V. Recommendations, self promotion. Hello, Oz. Good to see you again, friend. Hope you're having a good night or day wherever you are. Today, we're going to finally be looking at some creepy pastas. Hope you're looking forward to the spooks, the scares, the frights. And by the way, if any of y'all have a creepy pasta you would like me to react to, put it in the chat and I will make sure to type it in. And by the way, the maker of the thumbnail is not mine. That is actually Kane's thumbnail. He makes incredible amounts of thumbnails. I'm planning on doing a really big shout out for him once I hit 1K. There's a lot of stuff I gotta do for 1K. Especially if anyone wants to deal with a vote between not Twilight Princess. Breath of the Wild Master Mode or Subnautica Below Zero. I wonder if Miss Eternal Moon would love to join us for the spokes. Ooh, that's the wrong place to put it. Whew. Good thing I caught myself before I accidentally put one of my videos in someone's general chat. Ooh. Okay. Discord stuff is taken care of. So I went on the internet and I found so far at least 5 creepypastas, and this one's trying to start without me. I tried my best to sorry. I tried my best to look for 5 different ones, but I managed to do 4 at best. Some of them are incredibly long. I will give you the heads up. One of them is a series that is about the man in the suit. In other words, a Godzilla creepypasta. I found one for FNAF. I found another for Thomas the Tank Engine. There's quite a few that I found. Oh, that's a classic one, Ben's Drowning. Looks like Mac wants to see Ben's Drowning. Let's see, how long is that one again? Ben's Drowning. 45 minutes. Whoo! That's a long one. So before we do try to get this going, we're going to wait until a couple more minutes. We'll see if anyone else shows up. And if not, let's start the horrors of what we're going to experience. First off, let me turn up this a little bit of this volume. Ooh, that's a little too loud. We don't want to scare the kids after all. So anyway, I hope you all are having a fantastic day, a very good night. It is, I think, quite a bit of an eventful day. I finally got my computer to reach Windows 11, so I don't have Windows 10 anymore. Add a question and answer sticker. Eh. Like how that just pops up every now and then. Dang, there's 11 people because they saw Thomas or Freddy. By Freddy, I mean Freddy Fazbear. Ooh, I'm looking forward to this. Let's see. I need to figure out how to mute that. Got 12 people watching. Thank you all for coming for this special occasion. Let's see. Sorry about that. You guy, wouldn't that also make you as well? No problem there, Ricky. Okay, just a few more minutes, and we'll get started with the spooks, the scares. Oh, this is going to be fun. You know, I saw 10 fanboys when I was swiping. Which form of fanboys are we talking about? Talking video game, movies, something else? Those kind. Let's see. It's already hit the 12-minute mark. We'll wait until we see the 15-minute mark and then we'll start. Hopefully my computer is loud enough for y'all to hear. So sadly, I can't really do both my facial expressions and the laptop at the same time. Unless I get somehow incredibly lucky. And hello, Normal Duck. Hope you're having a good night. Oops. Nope, that's man in the suit. There we go. It's almost time, folks. 2 more minutes. After 2 more minutes, we start. So I will tell you all which ones I found. I found one for Thomas the Tank Engine. I found Five Nights at Freddy's, which is obvious from the thumbnail. I found about 2 for Godzilla, one in a movie format and one in a video game. Let's see, what other? There's another one. There's a very classical one, Binge Drowning. I'm going to see if I can see more. Go ahead, Ricky. You do you. Great, I'm not gay myself, but hey. Yes, Godzilla has a few. One of them is called The Man in the Suit. Oh, it's almost time, folks. It's almost time. And I'm about to hit the button. And let's go.
Let's be honest about this right off the bat. When it comes to creepypasta, the chances of reading something that isn't about an old or obscure video game are pretty low. The idea of an evil or haunted game is one of the most commonly used plots in horror storytelling online. We've seen Sonic EXE, Herobrine, Polybius, Pale Luna, and too many others to count. The topic is incredibly popular and, some might say, overdone. But every fad or popular movement begins somewhere. An artist or creation that sets the precedent and kickstarts the trend. The name of the originator for this kind of trend is one you already know and know very well. You've heard of the Ben Drowned creepypasta. You've seen all the narrators online who have told the story to millions of listeners. You might have watched the videos with their millions of views. You've seen the jokes, and the images, and the references by Let's Players. But unlike so many stories that came in the wake of Ben Drowned, the experience doesn't end when the creepypasta narrator's video track runs out. In the same way a copy of Majora's Mask held a much deeper world of discovery, so does the tale of Ben Drowned. One of the most unique and ambitious online alternate reality games ever attempted hides under the surface of this creepypasta milestone, and just as its creator is getting ready to launch the third and final act of the game, we're embarking on a mission to put all the pieces together.
I feel like that's more of a documentary than the actual drowning itself. Okay, let's try.
And a friend of mine gave me his old Nintendo 64 to play. I was stoked. Oh, every...
Let me turn this back a bit. Okay, hopefully this one will be a proper narration.
Okay, I need your help with this. It's going to be a long story.
Oh, not kidding, eh? About,
my safety or well-being.
about 58 minutes.
This is video game related. Specifically, Majora's Mask. And this is the creepiest shit that has ever happened to me in my entire life. Having said that, I recently moved into my dorm room, starting as a sophomore in college. And a friend of mine gave me his old Nintendo 64 to play. I was stoked, to say the least. I could finally play all those old games of my youth that I hadn't touched in at least a decade. His Nintendo 64 came with one yellow controller and a rather shoddy copy of Super Smash Bros. And while beggars can't be choosers, needless to say, it didn't take long until I became bored of beating up level 9 CPUs. That weekend, I decided to drive around a few neighborhoods about 20 minutes or so off campus, hitting up the local garage sales, hoping to score on some good deals from ignorant parents. I ended up picking up a copy of Pokemon Stadium GoldenEye, F-Zero, and 2 other controllers for $2. Satisfied, I began to drive out of the neighborhood while one last house caught my attention. And I still have no idea why it did. And there was no cars there. Only one table was set up with random junk on it, but something sort of drew me there. I usually trust my gut on these things, so I got out of the car, and I was greeted by an old man. His outward appearance was, for lack of a better word, displeasing. It was odd. If you asked me to tell you why I thought he was displeasing, I couldn't really pinpoint anything. It was just something about him that put me on edge. I can't explain it. All I could tell you is that if it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon and there were other people in shouting distance, I would not have thought about approaching this man. He flashed a crooked smile at me and asked what I was looking for, and immediately I noticed that he must have been blind in one of his eyes. His right eye had that glazed over look about it. I forced myself to look into his left eye instead, trying not to offend, and I asked if he had any old video games. I was already wondering how I could politely excuse myself from the situation when he would tell me that he had no idea what a video game was, but to my surprise, he said he had a few in an old box. He assured me that he would be back in a jiffy and turned to head back into the garage. As I watched him hobble away, I couldn't help but notice what he was selling on his table. Littered across his table were rather peculiar paintings, various artworks that looked like ink blots that psychiatrists might show you. Curious, I looked through them. It was obvious why no one was visiting this guy's garage sale. There weren't exactly aesthetically pleasing items here. As I came to the last one, for some reason, it looked almost like Majora's Mask. Same heart-shaped body with little spikes protruding outward. Initially, I just thought that since I was secretly hoping to find a game at these garage sales, some Freudian bullshit was projecting itself into the ink blots.
Yes, this is
But
Mr.
given the events that happened
Creepypasta.
afterward, I'm not so sure.
We are first reacting
I should
to
have
the
asked the man
legend.
about it.
Excuse me, we're reacting to
I wish
Ben's
I would have asked the
drowning.
man about it. I stared
I
at the
shouldn't be
Majora's
here.
Mask
I'm
block.
scared.
I looked up and the man was suddenly there again, arm's length in front of me, smiling at me. I'll admit that I jumped out of reflex, and I laughed nervously as he handed me a Nintendo 64 cartridge. There was a standard gray color, except that someone had written Majora's Mask on it in permanent marker. I got butterflies in my stomach as I realized what a coincidence this was and asked him how much he wanted for it. The old man smiled at me and told me I could have it for free, that it used to belong to a kid who was about my age that didn't live here anymore. There's something weird about how the man phrased that, but I didn't really pay any attention to it then. I was caught up in not only finding the game, but getting it for free. I reminded myself to be a bit skeptical since it looked like a pretty shoddy cartridge and there was no guarantee that it would work. But then the optimist inside me interjected that maybe it was some kind of beta version or pirated version of the game, and that was all I needed to get back on Cloud 9. I thanked the man, and the man smiled at me and wished me well, saying, "Goodbye then." At least that's what it sounded like to me. All the way in the car ride home, I had a nagging doubt that the man had said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game. To my surprise, it worked just fine, and there was one save file, simply Ben. "Goodbye, Ben," he was saying. "Goodbye, Ben." I felt bad for the man, obviously a grandparent and obviously going senile, and I, for some reason or another, reminded him of his grandson, Ben. Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file, eyeballing it. I could tell that he was pretty far in the game. He had almost all the masks and 3/4 of the remains of the bosses. I noticed that he had used an owl statue to save his game. He was on day 3, and by the stone tower temple with hardly an hour left before the moon would crash. I remember thinking that it was a shame that he had come so close to beating the game, but he never finished it. I made a new file named Link out of tradition and started the game, ready to relive my childhood. For such a shady-looking game cartridge, I was impressed at how smoothly it ran, literally like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups here and there, like textures being where they shouldn't be, random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, but nothing too bad. Honestly, however, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that at times the NPCs would call me Link, and at other times they would call me Ben. I figured it was just a bug, a fluke in the programming causing our files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out, though, after a while. And it was around after I had beaten the Waterfall Temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted Ben. I had intended to preserve the file just out of respect for the game's original owner, but it's not like I needed 2 files anyway. Hoping that that would solve the problem. It did, and it didn't. Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. Where my name should be in the dialogue, there was just a blank space. My save file name was still called Link, though. Frustrated, and with homework to do, I put the game down for a day. I started playing the game again last night, getting the lens of truth and working my way through completing the Snowhead Temple. Now, some of you more hardcore Majora's Mask players know about the 4th day glitch. For those who don't, you can Google it, but the gist of it is that right as the clock is about to hit 000000 on the final day, you talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you time it right, the countdown disappears and you essentially have another day to finish whatever you're doing. Deciding to do the glitch to try and finish the Snowhead Temple, I happened to get it right on the first try, and the time counter at the bottom disappeared. However, when I pressed B to escape the telescope, instead of being greeted by the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora's boss fight. at the end of the game. The trippy boxed-in arena, staring at Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air, and the background music, which was regular for the area, but still creepy. Immediately, my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appears here. I tried moving around the area. No matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying anything. Nothing would happen, though, and this kept up for around 60 seconds. I thought the game had bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much. I was about to reach for the reset button when text appeared on my screen.
Reset button.
You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. I instantly recognized that text.
chilly
You get that
here.
message when you get the room key from Anju at the Stockpot Inn, but why was he playing here? I refused to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. I started to navigate the room again, testing to see if there was some kind of trigger that enabled me to interact with something here. Then I realized how stupid I was. To even think that someone could reprogram the game like this was absurd. Sure enough, 15 seconds later, another message appeared on the screen, and again, like the first one, it was another pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple boss. Yes, no. I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press and
We're watching
how the
something
game
right
would
now.
react. When I realized that I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white, of the words, Dawn of a New Day, with the subtext, 111111 beneath it. Where I was ported to filled me with the most intense sense of dread and impending fear I had ever experienced. The only way I could describe the way I felt is having this feeling of inexplicable depression on a profound scale. I'm normally not a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling that I didn't even know existed. It was such a twisted, powerful presence that seemed to wash over me. I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone version of Clocktown. I walked out of the clock tower as you normally do when you first start day one, only to find that all the inhabitants were gone. Usually with the fourth day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dog that runs around outside the tower. This time, they were all gone. What replaced them was the ominous feeling that there was something out there, in the same area as me, that was watching me. I had 4 hearts to my name and the hero's bow, but at this point, I wasn't even considered for my avatar. I felt that I personally was in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was the Song of Healing, ripped straight from the game itself, but played in reverse. The music got louder, building up so as if you should expect something to pop out at you, but nothing ever did. The constant loop began to wear on my mental state. Every now and then I would hear the faint laugh of the happy mask salesman in the background, just quiet enough so that I wasn't sure if I was hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked in all 4 zones of Clocktown only to find nothing, no one. Textures were missing. West Clocktown had me walking on air. The entire area felt broken. Helplessly broken, as the reverse Song of Healing repeated for what must have been 50 times. I just remember standing in the middle of South Clocktown, realizing that I had never felt so alone in a video game before. As I walked through the ghost town, I don't know whether it was the combination of the out-of-place texture and the atmosphere and the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted, but I was literally on the verge of tears, and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something had gripped me here, and this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would fade to black, and I would just zone into another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I tried to escape, and I did not want to be here, but every time I played the Song of Time or Song of Soaring, it would only say, your notes echo far, but nothing happens. But at this point, it was obvious the game didn't want me to leave. But I had no idea why it was keeping me here. I didn't want to go inside the buildings. I felt that I would be too vulnerable there, whatever I was terrified of. I don't know why, but I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself at the laundry pool, I could spawn somewhere else and leave this place. As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that's when it happened. Link grabbed his head and the screen flashed for a brief moment of the happy mask salesman smiling at me, not Link. me, with Skull Kid's scream playing in the background, and when the screen returned, I was staring at the Link statue from playing the song of Elegy of Emptiness. I screamed as the thing just stared back at me with that haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out and back into South Clocktown, and to my horror, the fucking statue followed me. In the only way that I compare this is the weeping angels from Doctor Who. Every so often, at random intervals, the animation would play of the statue appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or I don't even want to fucking say it, haunting me. By this point, I was on the verge of hysterics, but not even once did the thought of turning off the console occur to me. I don't know why. I was so wrapped up in it. The terror felt all so real. I tried to shake the statue, but it would literally appear right behind me every single time. Link started to begin to make weird animations I'd never seen him do before. He would flail his arms around or spasm randomly, and the screen would cut to the happy mask salesman, smiling again for a brief moment before I was face to face with that fucking statue again. I ended up running into the swordsman's dojo and ran to the back. I don't know why, but my panic, I just wanted some kind of assurance that I'm not alone here. To my dismay, I found no one. But as I turned to leave, the statue cornered me in the cubby in the back. I tried attacking the statue with my sword, but to no avail. Confused, I backed into a corner. I just stared at the statue, waiting for it to kill me, and suddenly the screen flashed again to the happy mask salesman, and Link turned to face my screen, standing upright, mirroring the statue, looking at me along with his copy, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall was completely shattered while I ran out of the dojo terrified. Suddenly the game warped me to an underground tunnel, and Reverse Song of Healing queued up again as I was given a brief moment of rest before the statue started appearing behind me again. This time aggressively. I could only take a few steps before it would summon behind me again. I hurried, made my way out of the tunnel, and appeared in the southern Clocktown. As I ran aimlessly in a sheer panic, suddenly a re-dead screamed, and screen faded to a black as dawn of a new day, and 1111111 appeared again. The screen faded in, and I was standing on top of a clock tower with Skull Kid hovering over me again, silent. I looked up, and the moon was back, looming just meters above my head, but the Skull Kid just stared at me hauntingly with that fucking mask. A new song was playing, the Stone Tower Temple theme played in reverse. In some sort of desperate attempt, I equipped my bow and fired off a few shots at the Skull Kid. And it actually hit him, and he played an animation of him reeling back. I fired again, and on the third arrow, a text block appeared saying, "That won't do you any good." And I was picked up off the ground, levitated upwards on my back, and then Link screamed as he burst into flames, instantly killing it. I jumped when this happened. I've never seen this move used by anyone in the game, and Skull Kid himself didn't have any moves. As the death screen played, my lifeless body still burning, the Skull Kid laughed and the screen faded to black, only to have me reappear in the same place. I decided to charge him, but the same thing happened. Link's body was lifted off the ground by some unknown force, and he immediately burst into flames again, killing him. This time, during the death scene, the faint sound of the Reverse Song of Healing could be heard. On my third and final try, I noticed that there was no music playing this time. That all there was eerie silence. I remembered that in the original encounter with the Skull Kid, you were supposed to use the ocarina to either travel back in time or summon the giants, and I attempted to play the Song of Time. Before I could hit the last note, Link's body once again horrifically exploded into flames, and he died. As the death screen neared its end, it began to chug, as if the cartridge was trying to process a lot of something. And while the screen came to, it was the same scene as the first 3 times, except this time, Link was lying on the ground dead in a position I'd never seen in the game before. His head tilted toward the camera, and the Skull Kid floating above him. I couldn't move. I couldn't press any buttons. All I could do was just stare at Link's dead body. After around 30 seconds of this, the game simply fades out with the message, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" Before kicking you out to the title screen. Upon getting back to the title screen and starting again, I noticed my save file was no longer there. Instead of Link, it was replaced by "Your turn." Your turn had 3 hearts, 0 masks, and no items. I selected your turn, and immediately, when I did, I was returned to the clock tower rooftop scene with my Link dead and Skull Kid hovering over, and Skull Kid's laugh looping again and again. I quickly hit the reset button, and when the game booted up again, there was one more save file added, below your turn, entitled Ben. Ben's save file is right back where it was before I deleted it, at the Stone Tower Temple with the moon almost crashing. I turned off the game at that point. I'm not superstitious, but this is way too fucked up, even for me. I haven't played it at all today. Hell, I didn't even get any sleep last night. I kept hearing the reverse song of healing music in my head and just remembered the sense of dread I felt exploring Clocktown. I drove back to the old man's house today to ask him some questions with a buddy of mine. No way I was going there alone. Only to find that there was a for sale sign in the front yard, and when I rang the doorbell, no one was home. So now I'm back here writing down the rest of my thoughts and recording what happened. Sorry if some of this has grammatical errors and whatnot. I'm not sleeping quite so well. I'm terrified of this game, even more so now that I relived it a second time writing this all down. But I feel like there's still more to it than meets the eye, and that there's something calling to me to investigate this further. I think Ben is something in this equation, but I don't know what. And if I could get a hold of the old man, then I would be able to find some answers. I need another day or so to recuperate before tackling the game again. It's already taken a toll on my sanity. I feel like the next time I do this, I'm going to be recording my footage.
Some scary stuff,
all the way
folks.
through.
Scary.
The idea to record only came to me towards the end, so you see the last few minutes of what I saw, including the Skull Kid and the Elegy statue, but I'll post it on YouTube here. I'm gonna stay in this thread for a while longer, just before I fall asleep, to answer any questions while you guys might have any, or hopefully listen to your ideas or theories to help me shed some light onto this. Maybe things I should try to do. I think I'm gonna play Ben's file tomorrow to see what happens. Maybe I was supposed to do that all along. I don't believe in paranormal shit, but this is a little fucked up.
My goodness, the amount of cursing.
A really good hacker and programmer. I don't want to think about the alternatives if he isn't. I'm gonna post what happened and a link to the footage here. But last night, everything got too real for me. I think I'm done messing around with this. I passed out pretty much immediately after making that thread. But last night, that Elegy of Emptiness statue, I had a dream about it. I dreamed that it was following me in my dream. That I would be minding my own business when I'd feel my neck hair stand up on end. I would turn around and the horrible, lifeless statue would be staring with those empty eyes right at me, merely inches away. In my dream, I remember calling it empty. Never before had I had a dream that I could remember so vividly, but the important thing is I did get some sleep, I suppose.
Okay, that's good.
Today, putting off playing the game as long as I could, I drove back up that neighborhood to see if the old man came back. And as expected, the car was still gone and no one was home. As I walked back to my car, the man next door, mowing the grass, killed the power to his lawnmower and asked if I was looking for someone. I told him that I was looking to talk to an old man that lived there, to which he told me what I already know. He was moving. Trying a different avenue, I asked if the old man had any family or relatives that I could talk to. I discovered that this old man had never been married, nor did he have any children or grandchildren through adoption. Starting to become worried, I asked one final question, when I should have asked in the beginning: who's Ben? The man's expression turned grim, and I learned that 4 doors down, around 8 years ago, on April 23rd, the man informed me that it was the same day as his anniversary, and that's how he knew the specific date. There was an accident with a young boy named Ben in the neighborhood. Shortly after his parents moved, and despite any further attempts to talk to the man to get more information, he wouldn't divulge any. I went back and started playing again. I loaded up the game and immediately I jumped at the title screen where the masks flew by. The sound that played was not the normal whoosh sound. It was something much more higher pitched. I pressed start, bracing for the worst, but just like 2 nights ago, the files Your Turn and Ben were displayed. Truth be told, I looked at the Ben file earlier. It seemed to fluctuate between displaying the owl save and not. I brought up the Ben file, hesitated for a moment, noticing that the stats were not the same as they originally were 2 days ago.
This is
seemed
some
like he had
scary
already
stuff
completed
here,
the Stone Tower
folks.
Temple this
Whew.
time. Summoning my courage, I selected it. Immediately, I was thrust into complete chaos. Sure enough, I was outside of Stone Tower Temple, but that's about all that was expected. The zone itself wasn't called Stone Tower Temple, but rather Stone. And immediately, a dialogue box of complete gibberish that I couldn't make out greeted me. Link's body was distorted. His back was cocked violently to the side where his posture was permanently disfigured. Link's expression was dull, almost monotonous. He had an expression on his face that I didn't recognize before. It was a blank look, as if he was dead. As Link stood there, his body spasmed irregularly back and forth. I examined what had become of my avatar and noticed that I had a C button item I had never seen before, some kind of note. But pressing it did nothing. Sounds played back and forth I didn't recognize from the game, almost demonic in nature, and there was some kind of high-pitched yip or some kind of laugh or something playing in the background. I had all of 2 minutes to take in the environment before another one of those fucking Elegy of Emptiness statues was summoned, and
Guys,
immediately
calm
after I was
down,
cut
they're
into the
cussing,
dawn of a new day screen. Except this time it was without the 111 subtext. I was a Deku scrub in Clocktown.
He's a scrub.
This scene would normally play after the first time you traveled back in time. Talt would say, "What just happened?" It was as if everything has... But instead of saying, "started over," she finished her remark in a broken text as the laugh of the happy mask salesman played in the background. I was put back in control of my character, but from a fucked up camera angle, I was looking from behind the door to the clock tower, watching my avatar run around as a Deku scrub, seeing as how I really had no place to go because I couldn't see anything. I begrudgingly went inside the door. There, I was greeted by the happy mask salesman, who simply told me, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?"
And then
Before the
he
screen
fennel
blurred out.
snapped.
I was in Termina Field as a human again. I might as well not have been playing the game anymore. I was being warped around, and there was no sign of a day clock or anything. I took a moment to get my bearings as I looked around the field, and immediately I could tell that this was not normal. There was no enemies, and a twisted version of the Happy Mask Salesman theme was playing. I decided to run towards Woodfall before I noticed a gathering of 3 figures off to the side, one of them being Epona. As I approached them, to my horror, I saw the Happy Mask Salesman, the Skull Kid, and the Elegy of Emptiness statue just standing there. I figured maybe they were bugged out, but now I told myself that I should know better. Nevertheless, I approached them carefully and found that the Skull Kid was playing some kind of idle animation on loop. Same with Epona. The Elegy of Emptiness statue was doing what it had been doing all along, just standing there eerily. It was the Happy Mask Salesman that scared me more profoundly than the other two. He was idle, wearing that shit-eating grin. But wherever I moved, his head slowly turned and followed me. I had not engaged in any dialogue, nor was I in combat with him, yet his head still continued to follow my movements. Reminded of my first encounter with the Skull Kid on top of Clock Tower, I pulled out my ocarina, to which the game played the ding sound when you were supposed to play your ocarina, and I tried a song I hadn't played yet. The Happy Mask Salesman's own song, and the song that had been playing on loop back on day 4, the Song of Healing. I finished playing the song, and as I did, an ear-piercing shriek blasted on my TV. The sky immediately started flashing. The Happy Mask Salesman twisted theme song sped up, intensifying the fear inside me, and Link exploded into flames and died. The 3 figures stayed lit up during my death screen as they watched my lifeless body burn. I can't describe to you how sudden and terrifying the transition from eerie to terror it is. You're going to have to watch the video if you want to see it firsthand. That same fear that caused me to lose sleep 2 days ago started to grip me again. As I was met with the text, "You've met with a horrible fate, haven't you?" For the 3rd time. There has to be some sort of meaning behind it. I had little time to ponder as I was immediately given another small cutscene transforming into a Zora, and now I found myself in the Great Temple Bay. Hesitant but curious to see what the game had in store for me, I slowly made my way towards the beach where I found Epona. I wondered why the game had decided to put her here. Was the game implying that she was trying to get a drink? Unable to take the mask off, I decided that riding the steed wasn't the reason why she was placed there. Suddenly I realized that Epona kept neighing, and the way she was angled made it look like she was trying to signal a point to me off in the distance. It was a hunch. But I dove into Great Bay and started swimming. Sure enough, I almost missed it. I found something at the bottom of the ocean. One last Elegy of Emptiness statue. I went down to examine it, and suddenly my Zora started doing a choking animation. I had never seen a Zora do that, which doesn't even make any sense because Zoras can breathe underwater. Regardless, my character choked to death and died. And again, the statue was the only thing that was highlighted during my death. I didn't respawn this time. I was booted back to the main menu as if I restarted the console. The press start screen was before me. I knew the only reason why it would put me here is because the save file had changed again. Taking a deep breath, I pressed start and I was right. The new save files told me about Ben. Now it made sense why the statue appeared when I tried to go to the laundry pool. The game must have anticipated how I would have tried to escape day 4. The 2 save files told me his fate. As I suspected, Ben was dead. He had drowned. The game obviously isn't through with me. It taught me with the new save.
Oh, give me a sec. Whew. Man, this is some serious stuff going on here. But yeah, I am actually sorry. I'm trying to actually stay awake, but my eyes are like getting really heavy. I feel like it's only going to be like a matter of time before I straight up accidentally fall asleep on stream. Oh, that'd be funny as hell. I mean, funny as heck. I'm streaming, I'm asleep. I wish I had some Red Bull, some coffee. Yeah, coffee. Oh well. I'll probably say after I'm done streaming, I'll probably just go to bed.
Files.
Okay, let's continue.
It wants me to keep playing. It wants me to go further, but I'm done with this shit. I'm not touching any more of the file. This is already way too horrifying for me. I don't even believe in the paranormal, but I'm running out of explanations. Why would someone send me this message? I don't understand it. I just get too depressed thinking about this. The footage is up here for those who want to see it and try and analyze it. Maybe there's some kind of coded message in the gibberish or something symbolic in what I went through. I'm too emotionally and mentally drained to fuck with it anymore. I know it's early in the morning. I've stayed up all night. I can't sleep. I don't care if people see this. It's not the point. I just want the word to get spread so that I don't suffer for nothing. I've lost the will to type about this. The less I dwell on this, the better. I think the video just speaks for itself. I did what you guys told me to do. I played the Elegy of Emptiness song at the first prompt by the game I was given, but I think that's what the game, or Ben, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I'm even humoring that absurd idea, wanted me to do. He's following me now. Not just in the game, he's in my dreams. I see him all the time. Behind my back.
You hear that?
Just
He
following
sees him all the time.
I haven't
This
gone
is
to
some
any of my
scary
classes.
stuff.
I stayed in my dorm room with the windows closed and the blinds shut. That way I know he can't watch me, but he still gets me when I play. When I play, he can still see me. The game is scaring me now. It's talked to me for the first time, not just using text that's already in the game. It spoke to me. It talked to me. It referenced Ben. It talked to me. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it wants. I never wanted this. I just want my old life back. Stuff like this doesn't happen to people like me. I'm just a kid, not even old enough to drink yet. It's not fair. I want to go home. I want to see my parents again, and I'm so far away from home here at school. I want to hug my mom again. I just want to forget the statue's horrible blank face, my original game files back, just the way I left it before it was gone. I don't want to play anymore. I feel like something bad will happen if I don't, but that's impossible. It's a video game. Haunted or not, it can't hurt me, right? Like, seriously, though, it can't, right? That's what I keep telling myself, but every time I think about it, I'm not so sure.
Let me just clear things up. I know you guys are worried, but Chad Usable is okay. He finished moving out today, and he said he's going back home. He's just taking this semester off. I'm not really sure what's happened. I have a vague idea, but you guys probably know more than I do. I'm Chad Usable's roommate, and obviously, I knew something was wrong with him for a few days now. He stayed in his room all the time, fell out of contact with literally all of his friends, and I'm pretty sure he hadn't been eating hardly any. After the second day, I couldn't stay in there anymore, so I've been crashing at a buddy's place, only coming into my room to get stuff that I need. I tried talking to him several times. He would cut me off or keep the conversation brief when I asked him about his strange behavior. It was like he was convinced something was hunting him. Yesterday, I came to grab my philosophy book, and he approached me, looking awful, like horrible bags under his eyes. He handed me a flash drive and gave me specific instructions. He told me that he needs me to do one last favor for him. He finally explained to me what's been going on, gave me the account info to his YouTube account, told me he's getting away from here, that it lured him to play it again, instead of trying to change things and that he shouldn't have done that, and to upload the footage and inform people what happened. I told him that he could do it himself, and he got this wild look in his eyes, and told me that he is never looking at that game again. And that's the last thing he said to me. He never even said bye when his parents came to pick him up. I never even got to meet his parents. I honestly can't tell you what happened.
Or maybe
When he spoke, it was kind of hard to understand him. And his fucking parents really distracted me. On the flash drive, there was footage of the game last night, a text document with his name, and a password for YouTube. And a third document called thetruth.txt, containing what he told me were his notes that he'd taken. He told me that this meant everything to him, that I followed his instructions exactly. Normally it wouldn't be so to the letter for a request over a fucking video game, but the way he spoke, the way he looked, made me know this was really serious. And I'm going to honor that.
who the fudge are you? Why, I am your great-great-great-great-grandfather.
That's not really my forte. That after watching it, I had to go back through and look at his other videos on his YouTube account to realize what was going on. And even then, I'm really confused. The video I'm releasing tonight, the truth.txt, will be released on September 15th, just like he requested. I haven't dared peek at it yet. For the first time I see it, it'll be the first time you see it, out of respect to my friend. To answer your questions, no. I hadn't tried calling him yet. I think I'll give him a call tomorrow. See if he's okay or not.
You're no
He should have
grandfather.
gotten back home by now.
Oh, you never know, Kane. I might be. I might be an old man someday with
About the video.
grandchildren,
In this video, I
and
cut
you'll be
straight to
their
when he loaded the bin.
granduncle.
In the game, looking back, I realized that Dad Usable left the save select screen in because it said different names sometimes. So my bad. But all it said this time was the same at the end of this last video. Link and Ben. Nothing different. I wasn't there when he played it, but it looks to me like in the beginning, when he first spawns, he's testing out his equipment or seeing what items he has or something. Because apparently they changed randomly before. But after that, I just think the game got too personal for him.
September 6th. Can't believe what happened. Not sure if this is some kind of elaborate hoax. The fear, I can't help but be exceptionally curious about this. Who or what is the statue? A lot of questions here. I'm starting this document as a diary so I can keep track of everything.
Creepypastas,
and I can have
Kay.
a summary of what happened. So I can come back
Creepypastas.
to it later. September 7th, 2:10 a.m. Summary was posted here. 4:25 a.m. I can't sleep. I've been trying so hard, but the harder I try to get more sleep, the more restless I get. I just feel like the statue is appearing whenever I close my eyes.
I think this dude's a
8:20
little
a.m.
cuckoo.
Didn't sleep at all. Okay. Start my day. I don't think I have the energy to go to class today. I'm gonna drive back down to talk to that old man. Taking my buddy Tyler with me just in case. 1:18 p.m. Back home now. No sign of the old man. Really weird that he appears to be moving the next day, but maybe the for sale sign is up there yesterday and I just didn't notice it. Tyler wants to know what's gotten me all worked up. I didn't tell him. 3:46 p.m. Could have sworn. Driving back from Subway, I saw the elegy statue buried in some shrubbery. It was staring at me go by. Now I definitely need sleep. 5 p.m. Don't think a lot of people would believe me if I told them about what's happening. I think I'm gonna try posting that on the internet. I think I'll just use the summary. Those notes are pretty sporadic. 6 p.m.
By the
Connecting
way,
my capture
Kane,
card
don't
my
forget to
computer
leave a
upload
like.
footage.
It
Thought my
helps.
computer froze for a second. Maybe those strange popping sounds when I hooked everything up with it. Now it seems to be working again. My computer can't die on me now. 7 p.m. Footage is finally uploaded. The quality's a lot better than I thought it would be. This is all really special cartridge. Never had it come through this clear before. 8:45 p.m. Thought I saw an icon pop up my desktop that looked like a statue's face for a split second. Gave me quite a scare. Getting really unnerved and delirious. Gonna crash after this. 9 p.m. Begin uploading my YouTube video on an alternate account. 9:03. I don't remember having uploaded a Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines video last year. Probably the account that I shared with a friend of mine last summer. Hope he doesn't mind me using it to upload this. 9:55 p.m. Posting my summary of day 4 with a link to the YouTube video. Gonna try to stay awake, but I'm so tired right now. September 8th.
I know that feeling right now.
I had a dream about that statue. I dreamt that it was following me. It'd be minding my own business, but until my neck hair stand up on end, I would turn that thing. That horrible, lifeless statue would be staring with those empty eyes right at me. Barely inches away. In my dream, I remember calling it Ben. Power of suggestion, most likely. And never before had I had a dream that I could
Let's see.
remember so vividly. 11:21 a.m. I really don't want to play this game again. I think I'm going to go back to see if that old man's there instead. 1:35
That's
p.m.
just me in
No
a
man,
nutshell.
but an interesting
I'm
conversation
just
with his neighbor.
crazy.
I'll post the full thing in my summary for tonight's attempt at playing the game. I'm going to wait for a bit, though, and see if I can dig up any information on this Ben guy. 2:45 p.m. I've been getting random, inexplicable headaches due to the lack of sleep. Keep hearing that song on my head. Also, it's a flu season, so I need to be careful not to get sick. My immune
Flu
system is going
season.
to be shit right now.
Ooh,
because
that's not good.
of that all-nighter.
It's a sign of a ghost.
3:02 p.m. My computer just, on its own, opened up a text document and wrote the words hi in cleverbot.com by itself. What the fuck? 3:46 p.m. I went to the website, one of those bot chatting programs. I think it's best if I just let the conversation speak for itself. Hello? Hello. Who is this and how are you able to control my computer? Who am I? Right. Forgot. You're a bot. Do you really think that? Okay. I know whoever's fucking with my computer can see my screen right now.
Hope you're okay,
And
Kane.
I'll wager that you're one of those IT kids who thinks he's tough shit. You know what
Stan's
you're
been
doing
doing
right
very
now is illegal,
good.
right?
I'm using it right now.
No shit. Are you familiar with the term invasion of privacy? Get the fuck off my computer, kid. I am your computer. Cool story. Anyway, I'm calling DPS. You picked a bad time to fuck with me, kid. Should I wait until you play the game again? What? That game. Majora's Mask? Yes. How did you know about that? Because. Because what? I did it. Did what? I played with you. What the fuck? Were you scared? Who the fuck is this? Ben. The statue? You're inside my computer now? Yes. How? You connected me. How the hell did I connect you? Cables and cords. How? Tell me about yourself. What? Tell me about yourself. What do you mean? What is it that really scares you? What the fuck? Answer. No. Answer. What the fuck? How the fuck do you just open that by yourself?
Hello, Mr. Gamer.
How
We're watching a creepypasta.
much can you control? All. What do you want from me? To entertain. You're stuck inside there. You can't hurt me. Huh? What? Go play. No, you can't hurt me. Took you longer to type that. So? You're not sure. If you're so powerful, why use a ridiculous website like this to chat with me? Less messy, more structure. Fun. Fun? Yes. Tradition. I like it.
I've been doing good,
You think
Mr.
it's funny?
Gamer.
Amusing. And my notes? You may write them down.
Yep, 10 subs
Why are you letting
away.
me? It is amusing to see what
Wait,
you
10
think of me.
subs?
3:50 p.m.
Excuse me, second, I'm pausing this real quick. OMG, y'all. 10 more subs until the big 1K. Plus, I get a little break from doing this. So far, I would say binge this, even with my goofy faces, I think so far, this has been kind of terrifying to listen to. Hello there, Aris. Guess what, Aris? 10 more subs. 10 more subs into the big 1K. But back to this. So far I think binge drowning has been really good. It's given me that creep factor, even with my goofy faces. And straight up, I think that's it's like really good writing. Now, granted, of course, none of this is real. That'd be really. Okay, we're past the hour point. That would be like really kind of fucked up if this was actually real. And Mecca saying hello to everyone. And yes, Kane, the stand has been very helpful. Is there I don't know how to put this without calling you. So anyway, let's get back to Ben. We're about 43 minutes in. Hello to everyone except for Nintendo. Okay. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, can this like I tried to like move it like towards me, but it's like falling over. And I would have to like use both my hands to keep it in place for me to like move it around like this. What do you want to call me? No. I was just wondering like if there was any way to make like this thing a little more smooth with like pushing it forward and not just dragging it towards me for me to bump in my face and I get knocked down. I see Ben in my nightmares. Okay, let's continue.
What have I done? I invited it into my computer. I continue to write these notes, write my summaries. I feel like I'm a prisoner in my one place of security. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hallucinating or not. I feel like I'm fucking insane right now. I feel it watching over me. Even as I type this, Ben is controlling everything in the game, toying with me, leading me like a sheep. But for what? What's the purpose? I know Ben drowned. But why these hauntings? The fuck am I even doing? 7:18 p.m. Ben called me the Cleverbot again. Tells me that he's sorry and he wants to be free and that I can free him. That just like he got into my computer from the capture card, he can spread. But he needs my help. He says I'm special because I can help him. That's the first nice thing he said. He promises to leave me alone if I do it. He swears he will. I don't know what to think right now. How can I even trust
Ghost?
7:20 p.m. I'm terrified of it. And now it's saying that it was just having fun. It's twisted and fucked up version of fun. He's saying that the game's over. I do want it to be over. He says that he just wants to be free, that he's trapped in the cartridge in my computer, and he wants to be freed. I don't want to have to deal with this shit. I don't know how long I can deal with it. Watching me at every move, every keystroke, I have nothing private anymore. It knows everything that's been on my computer. It tells it if it wanted to, it could do horrible things to me, but it hasn't. So I should trust it. 8 p.m. Something tells me that I'm being played again. And just like last time. 9:29 p.m. Ben is calling me to Cleverbot again. I ignored it. I went to go take a shower. When I came back to my laptop, I was welcomed with an image of the LG statue staring at me with those dead eyes. I don't want to talk to him. 9:44 p.m. Fuck you, Ben. I'm not talking to you. 9:56 p.m. Fuck you, Ben. I'm not talking. 10:06. Fuck you, Ben. I'm not talking to you. 10:12. Fuck you, Ben. I'm not talking to you. 10:46. It's been more than a half an hour and the messages have stopped. Ben has stopped. I'm beginning to think that Ben isn't confined to just my computer and the cartridge. I'm beginning to feel something. It's hard to explain. I've never been spiritual, but there's something different about the air. Something different about the air in my room. 11:42 p.m. I'm beginning to see the elegy statue randomly as I search the internet in places I shouldn't. Places where he shouldn't be. I'd be scrolling down and suddenly I'd be staring at a picture of the elegy statue. Always the elegy statue. I don't know how much more of this I can take. September 9th, 2010. 12:35 a.m. My worst fears confirmed. Ben has tampered with my summary of ben.wmv.
I do actually feel a little bad for this guy.
Of the ben.wmv file, and parts have been omitted. There's no mention of Ben existing outside the game. There's no mention of the Moon Children. How could he have been that quick to delete the post without me noticing? I'm wondering if maybe it appeared to me that I was posting everything, but in reality, Ben was posting his own censored version. I'm gonna ask Ben why he did it. 12:50 a.m. He isn't responding to me on Cleverbot. Just gives me the generic responses I usually get. I'm just talking to a bot this time. 1:24 a.m. I think Ben is mad at me. 10:43 a.m. The Moon Children appeared in my dream last night. They lifted up their masks to reveal their hideously disfigured faces, maggots crawling out of their orifices, sunken black holes where their eyes should be, a yellow smile that slowly grew bigger and bigger as they came closer to me. They told me that they wanted to play. I tried to run from them, but the 4 children pinned me down to the ground with surprising strength. Over them stood the happy mask salesman, announcing that he had a new mask that he wanted me to try. In his spastic, sudden movements matching his in-game appearance, he took out a mask modeled off of someone's face that I couldn't recognize, a younger-looking face, and handed it to the Moon Children. Giggling, they latched it to my face, their horrible broken bodies bouncing up and down. 2 of them held me down while the other 2 began to sew my face into the mask. My shrieks and screams caused the happy mask salesman's face to turn into a most horrific smile. He sporadically moved around, examining the procedure like a curious doctor. In that impossible movement, I flailed around, but it was no use. My eyes rolled into the back of my head because of the pain. It felt so real, but I couldn't wake up. I couldn't wake up no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't wake up. After the mask was melded into my flesh, they began sewing my legs together. Then my arms. The horrific feeling of a needle puncturing your legs and pulling them in, rupturing your Achilles tendons and tying them together, resonating through my entire body. I tried to scream, but the mask was pressed so tightly against my face that it was my new face. And my new face had no mouth. I didn't make a sound. I tried telling myself in my head that I was dreaming, tried telling myself again and again, and suddenly the Moon Children stopped and looked at me. They just stared, and the happy mask salesman slowly bent down and stared at me, inches away from my face, and grinned. When he simply
69,
said,
my God.
"You've met the terrible fate, haven't you?" Before the Moon Children resumed with increased vigor. I couldn't wake up. I couldn't wake up. It wouldn't let me wake up until they had crafted me into another elegy statue. I woke up sweating, crying, and shaking uncontrollably. I immediately ran to my computer and went for Ben. Answer me, Ben. Welcome back. What is the point of doing this? Why? Amusing to see. How? Fun to play. Fun to toy with you. Make you feel safe. I wonder how you would react. To what? If I hadn't revealed myself to you and stayed hidden, only doing little things to play with you. Close out your windows. Turn off your computer. Move your mouse by itself. Little things. Make you wonder if I'm there. But you never know. Give you little hints that I am. I wanted to do something different with you. You did this before. Yes. And I will do it again. To who, Ben? Did you know, Ben? Won't tell that information to you. How did Ben die? You know. No. But how did he drown? Won't tell that to you. Why? It is reserved for another. Who? Another who asks. When? Later. I'm beginning to think that this thing, maybe it isn't Ben at all. In a sadistic nature, I wouldn't be surprised if it took the boy's name after it killed him. 12:04 p.m., my room is beginning to feel different again. There's something out there. I feel really threatened, like there's something that's trying to reach out to me and strangle me, but I can't quite get there. 12:46 p.m. I think Ben doesn't want me to play with him anymore. I'll play later. I'll play the game again. Ben, can you see this? I'll play the game again. Please, just stop this. Please. Okay, please. 1:41 p.m. I'm going insane trying to decide what's real and what isn't. Is Ben just playing a trick on me, or is this for real? Is Ben generating these replies, or are people actually posting them? Did I just see that screen flicker, or was it just my imagination? Imagine depending on the internet and trusting your eyes for your entire life and then being blinded. You can't rely on it anymore. You second guess everything. For the brief moment, I am looking at my responses to the videos. People were pointing out things that looked fake or photoshopped or whatever. There's literally no way of me knowing if Ben changed something on purpose to try to shut me up, or maybe those replies were just constructed by Ben to try and discourage me from even reaching out. See? You see, I get fucking caught in an infinite mindfuck loop, like this, and this is what's been wearing on my sanity and pushing me to the edge, and I'm writing this. There's no way of even telling if anyone cares as much as I think they do. Just another fucking trick. Does this whole document even exist? Am I writing nothing? Am I writing nothing? What is it? What's the point of playing? I died when You die because you can't figure out the secret. What? Dramatic. What the fuck are you talking about? There, beauty in your suffering. 4:09 p.m. Ben is making me play the game again. It tells me that it has something very important to show me. September 10th, 10:52 a.m. The drowned.wmv playthrough was up when I woke up today. I remember typing it up, but I don't ever remember posting it. He censored it again. There was no mention of the old man. I have no voice anymore. I'm only posting what he wants me to. I am the mask he uses to disguise himself as he lies. 11:55 a.m. There's an entire video summary of a video that I don't know what I'm doing. Reading through the summary, it sounds morbid, resembling my dream from 2 nights ago, except on a far more sadistic scale. These moon children, there's something more to them. Almost as if there's another entity from Ben. Something happened last night that I can't remember. I'm posting the 4th summary to the forums now. Shadow of my chair moved. 12 p.m. Ben won't let me visit YouTube. I can browse the rest of the sites, but he keeps on exiting the window when I go to YouTube. Why? 2:02 p.m. I'm feeling the air starting to constrict. I don't think I'm alone here. Whatever aura has been here is getting more violent. 2:44 p.m. Trying to contact Ben on Cloudbot. He's not responding. I just get the AI. 3:51 p.m. My ears aren't fooling me. I'm hearing the reverse song of healing. I keep hearing it. 4:22 p.m. Now I'm positive of it. Earlier I thought it was a weird coincidence, but just now I opened up my window and 3 floors down, at ground level, I saw the old man. I'm completely positive I did. The same guy. He was just staring up at my window, standing in the middle of the campus. If students took notice of him, they didn't seem to acknowledge it. There's still some things about this whole experience that doesn't seem to make sense. And again, I never really was good at figuring out these kinds of puzzles. Not exactly the right state of mind to. I've given you all the pieces of the puzzle for you to analyze and piece together the missing links. I'm typing up these closing thoughts on the library computer on campus. I'm emailing myself the notes I have stored on my infected computer for the last 4 days. I'm going to copy and paste these notes with the closing and opening I've typed up here on a safe public computer into one document. I'm not taking any chances spreading Ben. I would not wish this horrible torment on anyone. I made sure to have my bases covered here. I didn't run into any problems with Ben when I was back on my computer trying to email myself the notes. Went right under his fucking nose. He has no idea what he just let me do. He has no problems opening the text documents from my infected computer in my email either. I can't describe to you how it feels to finally get the word out on this post. The nightmare ends here. That being said, don't download any of my videos or anything about my videos through a YouTube video audio ripper, screen grab, whatever. I don't know how he spreads, but I know that just watching them on YouTube, reading my text won't be able to allow him to spread. Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed my help in the first place. But I strongly recommend you don't take anything you see streaming online onto your own personal computer. Again, even though I don't know you, this is a sort of bittersweet for me. This semester, I didn't really have any friends, or rather, I stopped paying attention to them. But I suppose that's partially to blame because I'm the genius who picked to live in a single. I suppose someone to get a hold of me and save me before I got too immersed into the game would have literally saved my life. However, it proved too much for me. I'm just glad it happened to me and I could get the warning out so that Ben dies here. And lastly, thank you for taking the time to open this and open yourselves up to me by hearing my story despite maybe not believing me. You didn't have to do that. Really, you shouldn't have. Your support this entire time has kept me going. And now, I'm finally free.
Oh. Wow. That right there was Ben's drowning. Actually, before I do anything, I'm going to close my door real quick. The first, exit out that. Put this down real quick. Whew. Can't believe I've almost fallen asleep a few times. So I would say that one was really good. You can feel the tension, the fear on this guy. I think it was really good. So let's take a look at the chat a bit. See, Shin Godzilla, Space Godzilla, Mega Godzilla. Don't forget Super Godzilla. Big Mama Godzilla. Bleh. There's an old lady with a broken nose out here. She's in a wheelchair and I pushed her down the stairs. She fell on Lady Dimitrescu's, so she's fine. I hear nothing howling. I would give Ben's Drowning a I'll say a 9 out of 10. I even with my silly faces and me almost look like I'm faking it, I still think that was really good, really scary. But it's the feel, the chill that makes it really good. Okay, so our next set of options for more creepypastas, we have Man in the Suit, the Godzilla NES creepypasta. We got Thomas the Tank Engine creepypasta. And Five Nights at Freddy's. So which one would y'all like me to react to next? And once again, if any of y'all have a creepypasta you would love to see me react to, type it in. I'll type it in. I wonder if Kane can actually come up with a creepypasta. Maybe there's a someone else can pick. Well, right now, let's see. The Sailor? Hmm. Can you give me a more detail besides the word the Sailor? As we're talking about Popeye the Sailor Man. I need to really figure out what to do with the notification stuff. Spinach pasta. I'm a sailor in the US Navy. We just found something real bad. Exclusive from the vault. I'm the I'm in the Navy and sailors are going missing. Lady Dimitrescu's knocker started to Okay. Okay, that's haunting to look at. There's a thumbnail of Sailor Moon, and she has soulless eyes with her mouth open. Reminds me of that the 8 foot tall lady from Japanese folklore. I kind of forgot what she's called. Nope. I think Kane's having a little too much fun on Lady Dimitrescu. Baboon! And Kane has completely lost his bad bonkers. Floorboards. Yes, nice floorboards indeed. Well, let's see. I don't think anyone's giving me much of a response. I guess I'll do a choice here. Let's see. I want to do a little short one this time, so let's do Agar's Revenge, Thomas the Tank Engine Creepypasta. No, it looks
When I
like
was little, my favorite show was Thomas the Tank Engine. I made sure to watch every episode of it. Even when I got older, the show still had a special place in my heart. When my nephew Spencer was born, I shared my love for Thomas with him. I gave him Thomas the Tank Engine based presents for every birthday and Christmas. I now understand how weird I was acting back then. And I would have kept this obsession
I
up,
mean, heck, I still
if
watch
not for
Thomas
one
the Tank
disturbing
Engine. Look
incident.
at me, I'm a 30-year-old grown man.
It all started 3 years ago. Spencer's 6th birthday was approaching, and I was looking for a good gift for him. I should mention that I have a habit of buying gifts a month in advance. So when it was time to buy Spencer's present, I had a great idea. Spencer hadn't watched a single episode of Thomas the Tank Engine. Not the original version, anyway. So I figured a DVD of it would be the best option. I went online and looked for it, and found one on Craigslist that was being given away for free. All I had to do was send the guy my home address, and he'd send it to me. I would never do this under normal circumstances. The last time I bought a DVD from Craigslist, it was a bootleg version of Aliens, instead of the real thing. However, money was tight back then, and I really wanted a DVD for Spencer. So against my better judgment, I got it. When it
Uh-oh, he
arrived
said
on my
Kane's
doorstep,
favorite word.
I was surprised by the poor packaging. It was wrapped in brown paper and tape. I guessed that the DVD was hand-delivered. I unwrapped the package and inspected the DVD. The box and cover looked legit. The disc also had a real-looking cover, instead of just the title written in Sharpie. So all that was left to do was play the DVD. I turned on my desktop and popped the DVD into the disc player.
Excuse me.
Everything looked good, but then I checked the episode list. The DVD contained 6 episodes. The first 5 episodes were the first in the series. The 6th episode, however, seemed unfamiliar to me. The episode was titled Edgar's Revenge. I've seen every episode of Thomas the Tank Engine, and I've never heard of Edgar's Revenge. Also, who's Edgar? I thought that I was scammed again. To be sure, I decided to watch the episode. I've heard TV shows having lost episodes. Since SpongeBob SquarePants was pretty good, I figured why not. I will regret that decision for as long as I live. The episode began with Thomas chatting with Percy. Thomas was telling Percy about the coal he was going to deliver to a factory south of Sodor. When Percy heard this, he looked worried. He asked how Sir Topham Hatt could send another engine down that route. There was a railroad on the south side of Sodor that was believed to be haunted. Every time an engine went down those tracks, they'd be pushed off of them by an unknown force. Unfortunately for Thomas, he had to go down those tracks. Apparently, Sir Topham Hatt wasn't superstitious. Every time an engine is found on its side next to the tracks, he'd say there was something wrong with the tracks. But every engine knew the truth. The episode then showed a flashback with the narrator telling the story. Years ago,
Yes,
there was an
Kane,
engine
your
named
favorite
Edgar.
word is Jill's
One day he was assigned
legs.
to bring logs to a shipping port south of Sodor. However, a storm was going to hit that area soon. Despite Edgar's concerns, Sir Topham Hatt made him go anyway. Edgar was going through a clearing when the storm hit. A bolt of lightning then hit him, electrocuting the engine. Edgar screamed in agony as his face began to melt. He then came to a stop and died on the tracks. It took several days for Edgar's body to be recovered. It's believed that Edgar's ghost was responsible for those accidents. Percy begged Thomas not to go down those tracks. But Thomas, being the diligent engine he was, went anyway. The next scene showed Thomas driving through a clearing. The sun was setting and the engine looked nervous. He was frantically looking around for Edgar's ghost. After a while, Thomas began to calm down. He was starting to think that the hauntings were just accidents when he saw something. A smoky mass was forming beside Thomas. The smoke then materialized into a train Thomas looked at the engine in horror as he realized it was Edgar's ghost. His face was hideously deformed, and his eyes were completely white. Patches of paint were missing, and he was wailing in agony. Edgar started ramming against Thomas, his screams of pain switching to anger. Edgar then started yelling about how Sir Topham Hatt killed him, and then he must pay for what he did. With one final blow, Thomas was knocked right off the train tracks. Edgar sped off, laughing maniacally before disappearing. A few days later, a group of people retrieved Thomas and Nicole. He was mumbling under his breath with pure terror on his face. I sat there in shock as the credits rolled. What bothered me the most was that it didn't look like a fake episode. I kid you not, Edgar's Revenge looked as if it was made by the same people that created the series. I looked at the episode's title on the internet. Unfortunately, I didn't find any information about it. I did, however, find something else. There was a news article dating back to the 1930s about a tragedy in the UK. A freight train was found in the clearing with its entire crew murdered. One of the crew members killed everyone before disappearing somewhere. The killer's name was Edgar. I'm still not convinced that the episode was fake. Whoever the creator was, at least I now know what inspired that nightmare. I destroyed the wretched DVD and threw the remains in the trash. After that, I went to buy a DVD from an actual
That's a
store
lot of fish.
and never told anyone about Edgar's Revenge. I'm not sure if there are any more copies, but if so, I hope they never see the light of day. Have you ever heard of
That was
Thomas
just
the Tank
random.
Engine? If you've been around little kids between the ages of 2 and around 7 or so, I'm sure you have. My son adored Thomas so much that he could name every single train, knew what color they were, and the number they had painted on it. I was glad when I heard that he was coming to visit me over the summer. But I had a ton of work to do, so I bought him a Thomas DVD. The cover looked innocent enough.
Read a chat out, dang it.
What was also interesting
Okay, fine.
was that
We'll take a little break from this. Even though the video is almost over. Let's see. You better believe it that I will do anything for love, and you know it's true. And that's a fact. That will do anything for love, anything Jill's been dreaming of. Even though Santino could probably ruin it by getting her killed. Been dreaming of, but I just won't do that. Heart, heart, heart. The episode was fake. I straight up said I wasn't finished with it. You told me to read the chat, so I read. Well, let's continue.
Thomas was smiling, and little wooden children were waving their arms out of the windows in his coaches. The DVD was called Thomas and the Children. He was so excited to see the DVD
Oh.
that right off the bat,
Children.
he pleaded with me to pop it in the DVD player. I went to work while he watched it. After a few hours, he came into my office, looking as pale as a sheet. His voice seemed very weak. "Are you okay?" I asked, and touched his head and noticed his temperature had gone up. "Why did Thomas kill the children?" My heart sank like a stone, but I soon brushed it off. "I'm sure Thomas didn't kill the children," I reassured him. "Now you need to rest and take some medicine." I gently nudged him towards his room. "Come on now." After putting him to bed, I got curious as to what he had seen. I popped in the DVD and began to watch the episode play. It seemed normal enough. The episode began as Thomas was told to take a group of children to the seaside by the instructions of Sir Topham Hatt. I noticed something was wrong. There was no narrator in the episode. The episode then showed Thomas picking up the little wooden children and showed every single one of them climb on board.
I am continuing
Then there was a
it.
scene with him zooming down the rails, like he always did, and the kids were cheering. But up ahead, Birdie the bus was stuck on the level crossing, moaning for someone to help him. This is when the episode got strange. Birdie stared at Thomas in fear, but Thomas just smiled and sped up. He laughed and the kids were crying, with tears coming down from their wooden faces. Immediately Thomas crashed into Birdie, and pieces from both of them flew everywhere. Usually by now the narrator would say, and luckily no one was hurt.
But someone was hurt.
The episode then showed what happened inside the coaches. Wooden limbs were broken off. What looked like actual blood had been splattered everywhere. We see brief shots of their heads ripped off and tears painted upon their faces. Everything went to static. After that, I felt myself boiling over with anger. What sicko would create something that messed up for little kids? Then I paused the tape. Messages started to appear on the screen like kill, obey, multiply, and die. I watched the static and more different messages flashed on the screen. And on the bottom, one of them said, R.I.P. Thomas. I threw the accursed thing in the trash after breaking it in half. I would not expose my child to any more of that trash. Before going to bed myself, I checked him. He was happily asleep and snoring, clutching his teddy. I had nightmares from this. One where the children came into my room, but they were lifelike and as tall as a normal person. Their twisted forms grabbed my limbs and pulled me apart, while I heard that blasted train laughing. Now I have woken up covered in blood, knife in hand, and I'm a...
Well, that's another one finished. I will say it. I think it's fine. I'll probably say the last one I saw was a lot more scarier. Okay, let's see. Now we have Trapped at Freddy's, a creepypasta story. We have Godzilla, the Man in the Suit incident. Godzilla NES. And yep, just those three. We'll take a quick break. Just so I can try to resist going to sleep, because my god, do I feel tired. And it's only like 9:30. A silent Nintendo is the best Nintendo. Well, fudge you too, Kane. So while we're playing the patient game, which one do you all want? You want Godzilla or Five Nights at Freddy's? And I guess while I can show Kane this. So it's like this, Kane. I want to like push this forward towards me, but I have to be like, one hand has to be like right here where my finger is, just for me to pull it towards me. Fudge sticks, I was behind on stream. Ha 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 ha. Let's see here. Mac has voted for Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyone else? I can't see much from that angle. It's the best I can do. Oh boy, we're 100 hour. There's no way that's 100 hours. That's gotta be 100 minutes. Plus, it's only 9:40, so there's no way that's about like a 2-hour stream like right there. Good thing I seem to pay more attention to phone streams than I do video games. Okay, last call. Do y'all want Godzilla or Five Nights at Freddy's? I posted a pic on the cut on my hand in my server. Oh, but I do have this. Okay, so Kane wants Godzilla. And Scott. Where's my. Oh, that's right, my phone's right there. Oh, that's right, I can just use my computer for this. Since we have a tie-way vote, unless Aris is still there and he wants to make his choice between Godzilla or FNAF. Wheel spinner. Get rid of all these blah 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 stuff names. Godzilla. And Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm guessing Aris has gone somewhere. Well, let's see what the wheel says. Oh boy, Kane. Okay, come on, Kane. Even that's a little unfair. Oh well, it's not like it really matters. Godzilla won. So let's see. Do we do. Let's do Man in the Suit. This is actually a series of 12 episodes. Godzilla's fat. Yes, but he's also muscular. Okay, let's see. So far, it's just step. Ah. Why do I sense I'm going to get copyright strikes on me doing this? Even though this sounds very distorted. I might be going to my car for a nap in a few minutes. Okay, that's fine, Kane. The person in the Gojira suit was unknown at the time. But the story the actor has with Gojira is odd. This is a photo of him in the suit. It's showing the original Godzilla. Here is another picture. Shows the train scene. He's got the acting job of being and wearing the Gojira suit. For those who don't know, Gojira is Godzilla in Japanese. And the actor fell in love with it. I'm not going to question that. Oops. Gonna have to do like in between pausing and unpausing. He would wear the suit most of the time to the point that you never saw his actual face. A Toho producer. Even when he takes breaks, he would just wear the suit. The suit would sometimes heat up, but he didn't care. It was like if he was addicted to the suit, like if it's calling his name. It has gone to the point where he brings the suit home. Ah, dang it. It's gotten to the point where he brings the suit home even though we tell him not to. He wouldn't really speak a lot, but he would say that his name is Goji, basically the nickname we gave to the suit actor on set. The last time he was seen on set, he was acting in the suit until he just stopped. This is the photo that was taken. Hello? Just to make sure, can anyone hear me? Yep, I'm back. Okay, that's good. Uh, Son of a gun. Words of wisdom from Kane: never leave your phone without the charger. That's a memorable moment right there. Someone actually clip that, please. I actually wanted to see. Okay, let's continue. Several minutes later, he would start to walk and stop yet again. His breathing was muffled, yet he was also breathing oddly. The director thought that this was a joke poking at him to get him in place, but he wouldn't budge. It was your phone trying to save y'all from a copyright claim. After 2 odd minutes of oddly breathing, he would tell people to check on him and to make sure he takes off the suit. This was the photo someone took before the person on the right saw what was inside. The man opened the costume to see that it was growing into the suit. His flesh would slowly rip away as he tried to open the pocket. The pocket where actors would enter the suit. The suit was now his skin. Somehow his body deformed to the point he was filling the inside of the suit. And Kane's throwing up. This is what they expected. Okay, we got silhouette of Godzilla with a random man in the suit. This is what they found. Oh boy. Well, here's what they found. Quite a fantastic picture, isn't it? Now, part 2. Not one, but two of the most terrifying creatures ever loose on men. Each a raging, unkillable horror. Both on a rampage to stun your every sense. Gigantus, the fire monster. Born to destroy each other. But first, they'll destroy the world.
Here's motion picture adventure and excitement to stagger the imagination. The fantastic fire monsters.
Along with copyright.
Bowels of hell. Mighty Gigantus, crushing whole cities in his wrath. And deadly Angurus, screaming its challenge of mortal combat. The battle of the ages. Scenes and sights and sensations beyond any.
Well, that was the opening right there. I am vomiting, farting, and I'm going to say that one at the same time. Whew! My goodness gracious, Kane. The man in the Gojira suit still came along for the next movie. If they stopped and told anyone about the suit man, Toho would been sued and ridiculed for keeping such a disgusting creation. So they decided to keep him out of the public eye so they could hang on the success of Godzilla. Wow. I didn't realize Toho was that dark. Ooh. Toho wanted to find out the ultimate scene for all of this. Oh, the ultimate cost, excuse me. The man in the suit has been examined by private doctors. The doctors weren't really sure about the cause, saying it might be a pill, but they weren't certain. What they were certain about was the outcome whenever he looked or had made his skin and flesh inflated to the entire suit, melting and fusing together. Somehow the outside of the suit was now his skin. Alright, I'm going for a nap. I'll be back if you're still alive. Okay, Kane, enjoy your nap. His bones were rearranged inside to match with the height of the suit. Ew, this Godzilla is terrifying. He can somehow feel the outer layer of the suit as if it was his own skin. Okay, off to a great start. It turned out that he could see out of the eye socket of the suit, but his eyes were bloodshot. Yikes. His eyes were bloodshot. Okay, thank you for telling me that again. Yeah, it looks like normal white eyes. And it's going dark. And now all I see is some of his skin and teeth. The name for the actor who played Anguirus is blank. No, literally, it's blank. White out. People on set noticed how he was out by the man in the suit. No one cared to tell him what No one cared to tell him what happened and what he has become. Before we do anything else, I want to check a little something real quick. Okay. So it looks like this one's going to be about Anguirus. The man in Gojira's suit was very cooperative. Even after losing his vocal cords, he could still make noise, like one of an animal. Ah! Hit the wrong button. Everything would go great until the last scene they had to do where they would both fight. Or really, towards the middle of the movie. I like how they're just like using like most of the images from the movies. Now it's showing Godzilla and Ghidorah fighting. And sounding very distorted. Yikes. At the neck, where the head would be, the man in the Gojira suit would chomp on the actor's head, making him bleed profusely. This was never a part of the script. Um, Yikes. The actor would yell painfully for help as the teeth chomped onto his head. Seconds later, the actor would stop moving. I'm guessing he's going to come to the part where Godzilla uses his atomic breath to burn him. The man in the suit would protect the unconscious actor as he roared at everyone who came close to the unconscious actor. The actor would awaken, shaking violently as he struggles to get up from the ground. The crew on the set helped him up, fearing the worst. They tried to take off the suit. It wouldn't budge. A picture was somehow taken with the man in the suit roaring and protecting the unconscious actor. Come on, let's see it. This is the picture. All I'm seeing is a black screen. Oh, I can barely see what the heck I'm looking at. For those who want to know what I'm looking at this. If anyone can make that out, even in the black and white, not black and red, black and gray and white, black and white, hopefully you do have better eyes than me. This is what they expected. Oh, let me guess. Let me guess. The actor in the Angira suit becomes one with the suit. Okay, I'm gonna mute this, see if I can avoid. Where? Oh, it's gonna be this game. This is the best I can do. Sadly, I do not speak Japanese, so I don't know what that says. But if you look closely at it in the middle, you can see another pair of teeth. I guess this is the Godzilla suit. This is what they found. I like how it's building up a bit. Yep, just like the original suit. Of course, the third one, it had to be the giant ape himself. I'm gonna pause, gonna mute this so that way I get a copyright claim. A terrifying battle between the mightiest monsters of all time. King Kong versus Godzilla. Wow, it's getting very more distorted. I can't even see anymore, besides the fiery. Oh boy, what kind of story do they have for King Kong versus Godzilla? With the man in the suit being the only Godzilla suit at the time, they used him for the next film. King Kong vs. Godzilla, in color for both monsters. With King Kong being an American film, the man in the suit wasn't having it. What? This is where I come in. Is the man in the suit like racist towards? Wow, didn't see that coming. To be honest, I'm more disgusted than scared. I think that's the point. I will be hiding my eyes and my name over this one. I was put into the job of being the cameraman. They told me what happened before and told me to stay quiet about it or I would be arrested. After all, we gotta have that greedy money, even though innocent lives were destroyed. But the truth needs to come out somehow. The man in the suit wasn't happy making a movie with the Americans. Wow. Toho producer forced him to look more appealing to a younger audience. I'm sure he wasn't happy about that either. Of course, I was right. He wasn't happy with the how the look and all. Gotta go back. He. Oops. He wasn't happy with how this all played out. That's not a good sign right there if you have the man in the suit not being happy. He had very bad dislike towards the actor in the King Kong suit. He would either he either thought that he either thought Soshi E Erosi was a traitor for portraying an American monster or saw something in him. He knew that he wasn't a big fan of the American. He would roar at them and try to attack them. We treated him like a lion at the zoo. This is some very intense crap here. We had to film one more scene. I was instructed to not stop filming. The script was for after destroying the big building, he would act to use his atomic ray breath. No, it's called the atomic breath on him. Why did we pick this? I don't know. Ask the wheel. It did not go as planned. Oh, great. Did the American get torched into the suit now? It's actually kind of nice rewatching this. Uh oh. The man in the suit would push Shinji Suichi off the cliff, and I had to record it all. There was a struggle in the water, splashing as one of them frequently tried to get out of the other's grasp. Only one of them rose from the water. Uh oh. And it shows Godzilla, even though in the movie Kong won. I was sick to my stomach and wanted to know what we had done to what we've done what have we done to Shiochi. I grabbed my other camera and ran. I tried to lead the the long corridors of Toho Studios, wanting to take a quick breath of fresh air, but I heard screams from the room I had left. The power went out. I used the flash of my camera trying to look around frequently, trying to find an exit. I heard someone's footsteps walking towards me. I thought it was an employee. I took a photo wanting to find the exit quick. Let me guess, you got running with Godzilla and Gearus? It wasn't an employee. It was the man. Okay, he ran to Godzilla. It was the man in the suit. I want to see if they take multitudes. Ah, great. Now I gotta go back now. Here's what we have. That is quite something, isn't it? It's already 10:14. Let's see. There's only. Let's take a break from this and let's look at Five Nights at Freddy's. This one's about 28 minutes, so let's watch this for the. Let's watch this then, and I'll probably eventually do a part 2 of reacting to creepypastas.
It was a regular Saturday night. I wasn't in the best mood as I had to babysit my little 8-year-old cousin Alex that night. My aunt and uncle were heading out of town for the night with my parents, and they needed a babysitter. Of course, my parents just had to volunteer me. My dad offered to pay me $30 to take Alex to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I would have rather stayed home and just watched TV, but making $30 to sit at a pizzeria and watch animatronics for an hour at most seemed like a good deal. Before leaving, my dad handed me $50, the extra 20 for whatever the cost was for the food and games. I would obviously pocket the change. My aunt and uncle dropped Alex off as they left with my parents. I greeted Alex and tried talking to him, although I didn't expect much conversation from an 8-year-old. It was around 8 o'clock when we left. I had never been to this place. I imagined it would be like Chuck E. Cheese. I did, however, know that this place had a bad history and that it would be closed by the end of the year. Alex seemed excited on the way there. I couldn't relate. I remember having always been afraid of those singing animatronics in these kinds of places when I was younger. We got there at around 8:15. The last show of the night started at around 8:30. I remember outside seeing a help wanted sign for a security guard. I wondered why a place like this would even need a security guard, but I shrugged it off.
Hope you're happy, Mac. We're watching something else.
We sat down at a table and I got a pizza for us. It tasted no better than a frozen pizza or what you would get at a Chuck E. Cheese. I didn't expect much more though. The atmosphere seemed a little outdated, like something that would fit in the early 90s. The place wasn't particularly nice or clean, but it was still very popular, which made me wonder what could have happened to make it have to close by the end of the year. While eating, there was suddenly a loud drum roll, followed by a voice introducing the characters. The kids all cheered as the curtains opened up, revealing the 3 animatronic singers, Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. I was shocked. These animatronics looked old and a lot less detailed than I was expecting. They looked creepy. As they sang their first song, Alex, along with all the other kids, seemed to be enjoying it. Even most of the parents seemed to be smiling and having a nice time. But I just stared with a blank expression on my face. The animatronics' movements were pretty smooth and impressive, though. I guess they made up for the looks. After they finished their first song, the chicken in the back, Chica, I swear, turned its head and looked straight at me. It wasn't by chance. Its eyes were fixed right on me. I stared back, a little freaked out. Maybe they were programmed to make eye contact like this, but for how long? It was staring at me for at least 30 seconds. Both the other animatronics were turning their heads and eyes to look at the whole crowd, but not Chica. It wasn't until the next song started that Chica finally started moving its head again. I felt a bit relieved, considering maybe I was just being a little paranoid, letting my childhood fear of animatronics get the better of me. At least Alex seemed to be enjoying himself. The song went on for about 3 minutes before ending. I had at this point completely calmed down until it happened again. As the song ended, Chica turned its head to face me, eyes locked onto mine. But this time, Bonnie turned its head to me as well, making eye contact.
That's still an eerie image to look at.
Obviously loud enough for Alex to hear me, as he looked at me with a curious stare. I pointed out to Alex that the two animatronics were looking at me. He didn't even acknowledge what I said. As Freddy spoke to the audience, both Bonnie and Chica's fake eyes were locked onto mine. My heart started beating twice as fast. At this point, I was freaking out in my seat. Why was nobody turning around to see what the two robots were staring at? Was anybody acknowledging what was happening? I got up out of my seat to go refill my soda at the fountains, frightened to look behind me at the stage. I refilled my cup and stalled by slowly putting on a new lid and straw. I was just waiting for the next song to start or some kind of intermission. I just couldn't turn around to look at the stage. Suddenly, I heard Alex call my name. I had to turn around now. It's okay, I thought. There was no way the animatronics were still looking at me after leaving my seat. I turned around to look at Alex, but I saw at the corner of my eye the two heads staring at me. I dropped my cup of soda on the floor out of shock. An employee came over and asked me if I was alright. I asked him why the hell the two animatronics were staring at me. Just as I was saying this, I heard Freddy on stage say it was time for intermission. I turned my head to look at the stage, and the curtains were already closing. The employee explained to me that the animatronics were designed to make eye contact with people before he walked off. I could tell he hadn't taken me seriously. At least the curtains were closed and I couldn't see them anymore. But still, I just couldn't forget how they looked at me. They stared directly at me, but the way they stared at me, it didn't feel happy or friendly. It felt evil. I asked Alex if he was ready to leave, because I wanted to get the hell out of that place. He told me he wanted to see the rest of the show and play some arcade games. He asked me for my cell phone, telling me that he had to tell his mom something. I handed him my phone and he walked off to the arcade games. As he walked off, I noticed another mini stage away from the main stage. It was called Pirates Cove. The stage had the curtain closed and a tiny sign out front that read out of order. I asked an employee what it was and why it was closed. He told me that the animatronic that lives on the stage, named Foxy, had a technical malfunction in 1987, causing it to bite out a child's frontal lobe. Hearing this news, I realized why this place had a troubled history, and why it was closing. It shocked me that if such a horrific accident like this happened, how this place managed to stay open all this time. I was starting to feel uncomfortable staying in that place. I wanted to leave as soon as possible, but I knew Alex was having a good time. I saw him playing some arcade games. I sat back down and just waited. I just wanted the show to end as soon as possible so we could leave. About 5 minutes passed until the intermission was over and the curtains were opening back up. A lot of the kids that had gotten up to play games didn't return to the show area. I couldn't really blame them. I never found animatronics entertaining when I was younger either. Alex didn't come back either. I know I should have probably just gotten away from the stage and played the games with Alex, but part of me was curious. I needed to see what was going on, and if these things would still stare directly at me with their evil plastic eyes. Freddie and Bonnie made jokes and interacted with the kids in the audience a bit before starting their third song. It was interesting though. Most animatronics were attached to the floor, only able to move from the torso up. But these guys, their legs seemed to have free movement, allowing Freddie and his friends to walk across the stage. It was incredible and terrifying. The third song ended, and I was ready for them to look at me. Nothing. The three robots made jokes and interacted with the kids, none of them even turning their heads in my direction. I felt a weird mix of feelings, relief and discontentment. Why was I anticipating it? Why did I want them to stare at me? The last song went by fast because of all my thoughts. As it ended, the three friends started to say their farewells to the children. At this point, I was convinced that they weren't going to stare at me anymore, and that maybe the worker was right. Maybe they were set to make eye contact with people. It was almost 9 o'clock, which meant that the place was getting ready to close. Most of the parents and kids started to head for the doors. Alex came to me and told me he had to go to the bathroom. The public men's room had an out-of-order sign on it. I asked an employee where he could use the bathroom, and she said that he could use the employee restroom. The employee pointed Alex to the bathroom. There was an announcement that the place was now closed. I waited for a few more minutes. It seemed that I was the last person there. Even most of the employees had left. I stood there growing impatient until I noticed something at the corner of my eye. No, it couldn't be. I turned my head to see that all three of them were looking at me with the same ominous stare. I felt like my heart sank into my stomach. I couldn't even choke out the words to call for an employee. It was time to get the fuck out of there. I stormed down the hallway quickly, bursting into the employee restroom. I called for Alex. He didn't respond. I looked under the stalls to see if anybody was in them, and I saw Alex's shoes. I immediately felt relieved and stood by the door.
Wherever you have the chance, watch Backroom Stalker. Okay then. I could probably do that for part 2.
Waiting. I waited for what felt like another 5 minutes. I didn't want to say anything to make him feel awkward, but I had to. I asked if he was almost done in there because the place was closed, but he didn't respond. I started to become curious because I'd been standing there for a long time and he hadn't made a single sound. I walked up to the stall and knocked. As I knocked, the stall door creaked open to reveal nothing but Alex's shoes. He wasn't in there.
Uh-oh.
I heard it come from outside the bathroom. It was a huge bang. Sounded like some kind of door closing. I ran out of the bathroom to find that the main lights had been turned out, with the only source of light being the dimly lit night lights. I made my way back to the lobby, or at least what I would call the lobby in this place. I screamed for Alex, and I screamed for help, but to no avail. This is insane, I thought. What kind of place completely shuts down in such a rush like this? It was probably only 10 after 9. I ran to the entrance, thinking maybe Alex was waiting outside, only to realize that I was right. There was a giant metal door blocking the entrance. I didn't know what to think of this. I didn't know how to react. I was trapped in this place. Why would a place like this have a giant metal door like that? What were they trying to keep
Oh.
out? We're in. I had to call my parents, or the police, or someone. Alex was missing and I was trapped in there. I reached into my pocket for my phone. Empty. I remembered that I had given it to Alex. I tried to calm myself down. I can't be the only person in the building, I thought to myself. And there had to be a phone somewhere in the building. I walked down every hallway I could find looking for a phone, and occasionally shouting for somebody. The only phone I found so far was disconnected. If it weren't for the fact that Alex was by himself on a Saturday night, I wouldn't have been in such a panic. What the fuck happened to him? Why were his shoes in the stall? What if somebody had taken him? I had to call the police, but there was no fucking phone. I walked down another hallway finding a door I hadn't checked yet that had a staff-only sign. I I opened the door only to discover a room full of animatronic body parts. The room smelled foul, like something was rotting in there, and I was standing in some kind of thick liquid substance. I got out of that room as quickly as I entered. Seeing those animatronic parts made me think that maybe Alex was sitting in the dining area, waiting. The dining area was right outside the hole I was in, so I thought I might as well check. Navigating the barely lit building was pretty difficult, but also creepy. When I got to the dining area, I called for Alex, but there was no response. Suddenly, I noticed something through the corner of my eye. I could see that the curtains on the stage had been opened again. I could have sworn they'd been shut after the show. I didn't want to turn my head, in fear of what I was expecting to see. But before I could give myself more time to think, I turned my head to the stage, to see Chica and Freddy on the stage. There was a third one. I knew there was a third one. The bunny. The bunny was missing. Where was the bunny? I was able to make out in the dark the heads of the two animatronics, facing me. I ran out of there as quickly as I could, back into the dark hallways. I stopped to catch my breath, but I heard something coming down from the hall. There were footsteps coming my way. I was saved. Somebody was there. I ran closer to the source of the footsteps, yelling for help. As I got closer, I slowed down, noticing that the footsteps were very heavy, unnaturally heavy for a human being. I stopped, thinking something wasn't right. The flickering light ahead of me didn't provide enough light to see the source of the footsteps yet. As the footsteps got closer,
Yes.
As the footsteps got closer,
Okay, just ran. Let's see here. Have to go. Have a good one. Take care later, one. Okay, Aris, you have yourself a very good night and have yourself a very good stream.
I wasn't able to let out a scream. The robot started walking toward me. And at that instant, I ran to the nearest room, which happened to be a security room. I looked for anything to defend myself with. There were no weapons, but there was a button on the wall that seemed to be a door control. The footsteps were getting closer, almost outside the room. I ran to the wall and threw my fist onto the button, causing a giant door to close down to the floor. The robot banged on the door for a few seconds. Before the only noise was the buzzing sound of the dim fluorescent light in the room. How was this possible? How could these animatronic performers have the ability to roam freely? Why the hell was that thing following me? These things, are they alive? These nightmarish thoughts kept pouring into my mind that I almost didn't even notice the heavy footsteps coming from the opposite direction. I turned around, realizing there was another opening to the room, with an identical door switch. I immediately sprang to the door, slamming my hand on the button, not wanting to see what was coming down that hall. I sat in the room, feeling safe for a few moments, until I remembered that Alex was missing. I had to find a way out of there. But there was no way I could step back into those hallways until I knew those things were gone. There were two windows in the room, facing either side, with a view into the hallways. I couldn't see anything outside, though. It was pitch black. I noticed that under the door buttons on both sides, there were two buttons that were labeled light. Maybe these lights were for outside the security office. I needed to make sure that the robots weren't outside. I flipped the switch on the left side of the room to reveal the bunny's face staring at me through the glass. I hit the light switch again to turn it off. I didn't want to see that thing. I didn't want to see that thing looking at me through the glass. I moved across the room to the other side, pressing the light switch. I almost fell to the floor in fear. It was Chica, the animatronic chicken, staring at me through the glass. Her mouth was open disturbingly wide, revealing a second pair of teeth inside of her beak. These teeth were smaller and seemed human-like. She banged her hands on the glass, keeping eye contact with me. I shut the light when I couldn't take the sight of the thing anymore. I sat in the chair in the middle of the room, balled up like a baby. This can't be happening, I kept telling myself.
This
Both
kid is
robots
going to
reminded me
be
of the presence of constant
traumatized.
knocking on the glass. I feared that they might break the glass. I didn't know what they were going to do to me if they got me, but I imagined the worst. I couldn't see anything through the glass, but I knew they were still there, watching me. While looking around the room, I found a flashlight in one of the drawers, and on the desk I noticed the camera system. I turned it on and a bunch of screens turned on, surveilling probably every room in the building. I looked at a screen displaying the show stage. Freddy the Bear was on the stage, staring right into the camera. I looked at another screen that displayed the Pirate's Cove that I had seen earlier. There was an animatronic
Uh-oh,
poking its head out of
Foxy's
the curtains.
out.
I remembered that the employee told me that it was named Foxy, and while he was in disrepair, he was still turned on? Then I started to realize it didn't matter if they were turned on or not. These things were fucking alive, and they were evil. I could see the teeth in Foxy, and I knew that I didn't want to be anywhere near him. So I kept my eye on that camera to make sure he didn't move. I sat watching the camera for what felt like hours, and it probably was. The tapping on the glass had stopped, and the fox was still peeking its head out of its curtain. I had been so preoccupied with staring at the idle animatronic fox that I forgot to check any of the other cameras. I looked at the screen displaying the empty stage where Freddy was standing not too long ago. He was gone. Suddenly, all of the camera screens filled with static. I was blinded from viewing anything in the building. I started to panic and looked around the room again for anything to help me. I found an old phone hidden behind a pile of papers. I picked it up to hear a dial tone. It was working. I immediately started to dial for my parents, but I realized it would be a better idea to call the police. I redialed for 911. There was no ringing sound, just silence from the phone. I hung it up to try again, but didn't even get a dial tone this time. The bastards must have interfered with the phone. I got up to take one last peek out of the glass to see if the coast was clear to run. I turned the light on at the left side to reveal the shadow of the bunny standing in the dark corner. He's blocking that exit. I turned the right side light on as well to reveal the chicken still looking straight at me through the glass. I shut both of the lights off. I was trapped in there. There was no way I would try to outrun them. I didn't know how fast they were. I sat down in the chair, knowing my only option was to wait. I tried to rationalize the situation and calm myself down. Alex is 8. It's not like he's a toddler, I thought. And plus, he has my cell phone. He probably already called his or my parents, and I'm sure they're all on their way here now, I convinced myself. I checked my watch. It was almost 12 already. The cameras were still filled with static, and I was unable to do anything at that point. All I could do was shut my eyes and wait. I shut my eyes, thinking that everything would be fine come morning time. I still don't know how, but I had actually fallen asleep from closing my eyes for a while. I didn't think falling asleep in this kind of situation was possible. Like, your body would be in fight or flight mode. Your adrenaline would be rushing. Your body just wouldn't let you fall asleep. But somehow I did.
That's not good right there.
I woke to the sickening sound of familiar banging on the glass. It wasn't just a dream. I was still in that godforsaken place. I checked my watch and saw that it was 4 a.m. I had been asleep for 4 hours. I noticed that the light in the room was a lot dimmer, almost to the point where I couldn't even see the papers that were hanging on the wall anymore. The thumping was
That's
coming
not
from the right
good.
side. I didn't even turn on the light because I didn't want to see that sickening face of that thing again. Suddenly the light flickered. I knew the power dying at a time like this would be deadly, because these doors seemed to be powered by the electricity. I made a plan to run as fast as I could, through the left door, if the power went out. It was the only choice I had. The light grew dimmer, and flickered even more. I took one last look at the camera screens, to see that the curtain at Pirate's Cove had been completely opened, and Foxy was nowhere in sight.
That's not
Just as I
good.
saw this, the room went dark. The camera screens turned off, and the power doors opened. The power was out. I ran out the left door, turning the flashlight on. The bunny wasn't anywhere in sight, to my luck. As I ran down the hall, I slipped in something on the floor. I fell hard on my knee. I felt like I broke it. I moaned in pain, but tried my hardest not to scream. I felt the substance that I slipped in with my fingers. I smelled it. It was blood. I was laying in a big puddle of blood. I immediately assumed it was the blood of Alex and almost let out a cry of pain and sickness. I tried to get on my feet, but the pain in my knee was unbearable. I started to crawl down the hall with blood all over my arms and legs. I didn't know where to go or how to escape. They would surely catch me now. My luck seemed to have run out because I heard heavy footsteps coming fast down the hall. I had to act quickly, but I didn't know what to do. I looked around me and found a door. I didn't care what room it led to, I just had to get out of the hallway. The footsteps were getting closer. I shut the flashlight and managed to reach the doorknob, pushing the door open. I crawled into the room and pulled the door shut as quickly and quietly as I could. I waited in the darkness as the footsteps came closer and closer until they were right outside the door, and then it stopped.
Uh-oh.
Whatever it was right outside the door. I put my hand over my mouth to muffle my breathing and leaned against the door to block it in case the thing tried to get in. It was probably about 10 seconds, but it felt like a minute before the sound of pots and pans banging around echoed across the building, and I heard footsteps move away from the door. I felt that it was safe to no longer hold my breath and to turn the flashlight on. The light revealed that I had been sitting in a supply closet. I looked around for any kind of weapon, and to my luck, I found a crowbar sitting on a ledge. This was seemingly the perfect weapon to bash a robot in the face with. I waited about a minute until I thought the coast was clear, and I slowly opened the door and crawled out of the room. My knee wasn't hurting too bad anymore, but I didn't want to take the chance of putting pressure on it. Crawling was quieter anyway. As I crawled through the pitch-black hallways, banging into walls, I noticed that almost all of the floors in these hallways were sticky. The stickiness caused my skin to make a peeling sound off the floor each time I lifted my hands or legs. I didn't think too deep into the stickiness, or anything for that matter. I was too focused on getting out of there and finding Alex. As I crawled down the hall, I noticed moonlight shining in through a window in a room up ahead. I hoped the window would be low enough and big enough for me to reach and fit through. I crawled to the doorway, but the sight of two
Music's
big glowing
getting...
eyes stopped me. The eyes were fixed on mine, even in the dark. I turned on the flashlight and shined it at the figure. It was Foxy. He looked like a broken, unfinished animatronic with pieces missing altogether. His legs didn't even seem to be finished, as his robotic legs were not covered up by plastic fur, and his feet were just two pieces of metal. He raised his hook hand and started moving quickly towards me. I managed to get up on my feet, ignoring the pain on my knee. I held up the crowbar ready to swing it like a baseball bat. As soon as the robot got close enough, I swung the crowbar to hit his robotic leg, causing him to fall to the floor. I took this opportunity to smash his robotic head numerous times with the crowbar, causing gears to fly out of its face. The eyes were still glowing, fixed on me, but his legs seemed broken, and that was enough to stop him from getting me. I hopped closer to the window. The other robots no doubt heard what just happened, so I had to hurry. I reached the window. Luck was on my side, because the window was reachable and big enough to squeeze through. I swung the crowbar at the window, but it didn't break. I suddenly heard many pairs of footsteps coming from down the hall. I swung the crowbar again. The window cracked, but didn't break. The footsteps were right outside the room now. I swung the crowbar one more time, as hard as I could, finally causing the glass to shatter. I took a painful leap off both legs to reach the window. I pulled myself up and was about to jump out the window until something grabbed my leg. I turned around to see Freddy Fazbear standing behind me, holding onto my good leg, along with Chica and Bonnie standing behind him. Asked Freddy. Without thinking, I pulled my leg up, causing pain in my knee, and kicked it back with full force into the animatronic's head. This caused it to lunge back a bit and loosen its grip on my leg, giving me just enough time to jump out of the window. I didn't care about the returning pain to my knee. I hopped away from the building as fast as I could, with the only sound I heard being the screaming of the robots to come back. I screamed Alex's name at the top of my lungs 3 or 4 times before getting in my car and speeding to my house. I called the cops and explained the whole situation. I then called my parents afterwards. My mother picked up the phone after calling 3 times, asking why I was calling so late. She screamed into the phone, begging me to tell her it was a joke when I told her I lost Alex. When the cops arrived, I showed them a picture of Alex and explained to them about the robots. I told them that the robots must have been somehow programmed to kill any intruders at night. I tried to make it seem as realistic as possible. They looked at each other like I was crazy, like anyone would. However, they assured me that they would have the police department look into it, After investigating, the police found nothing. No blood, no broken glass, no foul smells, no Alex, and all the animatronics were in their proper places. It's been almost a month. Alex was never found. My aunt and uncle still cry their eyes out every day. My parents don't even talk to me. But what kills me the most is knowing the evils that are inside of that place, that family-oriented place. And that even if I told anyone what happened, they would think I'm crazy. I can't prove what happened to Alex, but I know that whatever happened to him, those fucking robots had everything to do with it.
Ten out of 10. I love this one. Now, actually, believe it or not, I had seen this one once. Only one time have I ever seen it. Because it was so creepy. It freaked me out quite a bit to where I'm just like, nope, I'm not going to watch this again. And here I am watching it again. Gold Freddy, bed music, bedtime music gets me sleepy until he jump scares you. Yep, and then you're dead as a motherfudger. So, yep, that's another one right there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more. And soon, I'll have to watch a whole bunch of Five Nights at Freddy creepypastas. Ooh, let's see if I can actually find another one. Let's see here. FNAF creepypastas. Oh man, there's actually 25 in this playlist. There's My Summer Job, parts 1, 2, and 3. Five Nights at Freddy's Last Call. There's one for 3 and 2. There's quite a bit. Cleaned Up by 87. One that's called Cake. Cake. You need to do Backroom Stalker. Okay, we'll take a look at that right now. Create an extra place. Go into YouTube. Looks like Eternal Moon is still doing her live thing. Let's see. Back. Oh, of course, there's a back rooms for Godzilla. Back rooms. Stalker. Ooh, 30 minutes. We're almost close to the 3-hour mark. Which I better hope it's the 3-hour mark, or otherwise I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, besides feeling tired, I wanted to go to sleep. I just want to go to sleep, please. Let me go to sleep. I'll beg them. Let me go to sleep. I want to have my nightmares of Ben drowning in Freddy. Now I'm just thinking how that's gonna be. Five Nights at Ben's drowning. Let's see the back rooms for Godzilla. It's alright if you don't want to watch it. Maybe another FNAF. And it's not just that. It's like 1047. I don't know how long this stream has been going. Mac, how long has this been going? The stream? Can you see the time? It's one for dinosaurs. Ooh, the found footage, but it's like that's promise that's not creepy pasta. Spider-Man in the back rooms. Hmm. No, hold on with the Godzilla one. Okay. What about FNAF? Whew. There's 8 episodes. Toy tumor. That just sounds lovely. The Return to Freddy's. Who would ever go back to Freddy's after after the hell they've been through? You started 2 hours ago. Yep. You look for some creepy backrooms creepy pastas. The stream is about creepy pastas, so we can take a look. And per usual, they have incredible long minutes. Some of these are like almost an hour. Some of them are just like 2 hours, possibly more. One hour, the back rooms. I wonder what's so famous about the back rooms. Hmm. The things that. This is weird. It's actually showing my stream. Yeah, when I think of the back rooms, I think of my own streams. Like, that makes sense whatsoever. Okay, let's see. Hmm. There's not a whole lot for me to watch. Hmm. Oh, this is just nice. I think we should save the back rooms for like their own stream and not like for the creepy pastas. So, guess what, Mac? We're going to have to deal with. The back rooms is where you go to a different world underneath the back rooms itself is an entity with a lot of bacterial infections, hallucinations, mysterious objects that were dragged down with you. Also, guess we'll just continue to man the suit for a bit. Or let's see. Actually, nah. I think we could do another FNAF one. Five Nights at Freddy's. That looks to be in a different language, so that would not be good for me. FNAF Creepypastas Nighttime. I guess we'll do this one. My Summer Job, Five Nights at Freddy's Creepypastas.
Everyone has precious childhood memories they hold on to. It's not until you grow up when you realize those memories are actually nightmares.
My
I had recently
Summer
finished my
Job.
final year at school and had decided to enjoy my last summer vacation at my hometown. It sounds strange, I know, since college is usually where all the parties and fun summer events are held, and also since it was the last time I could enjoy such events. But I've gotten used to the taste of it last year, and it's not my type of thing. My parents rarely use my childhood home anymore. They only use it in the beginning of each year for about a month or two. So, I decided to live there for the time being. My parents told me that they were fine with it over the phone, saying as long as I pay the bills, which I was cool with. I hadn't been in my hometown for a year, so I lost my job as a grocery store bagger. I decided I would resort to the newspaper ads since I was too lazy to go driving around town or searching online for one. I flipped through the employment section of the newspaper. Babysitter? No. Exterminator? Nah. Newspaper delivery? Nope. I did a good 5 minutes of scanning until I came across a rather interesting one. It was a job for one of my favorite childhood places, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Freddy's was an awesome place that my mother took me to whenever my father wasn't in town or I had just behaved long enough to get a special treat. Unfortunately, the job was for a security guard during the night. Not my ideal position, but I just couldn't turn down Freddy.
I would.
I immediately circled the ad with my pen and called up the pizzeria. They said that I could have the job without getting an interview. They just asked me for my name, Mike Schmidt, and my age, 23. I was then told that I could start this fall, November to be exact. To be honest, I was a little surprised. This fall? I began to rethink even working there, but then I remembered all the cash I earned while at my job in college. I'd have enough money to get by a couple of months before November. So, I decided to take the job. Yeah, I cheered, knowing that I could have a job at one of my favorite childhood places ever, and that the job doesn't take up any of my time during the day. I then went upstairs to my old room to sleep, knowing I'd be alright this summer and coming winter. The next day, I decided I would take a little tour of my old town. I did a good walk down Main Street, went through the community park, and even passed by Freddy's. It was good to look at that old place again. I didn't want to go inside because I'm sure people would find it weird for a grown man with no child to walk into a children's place of happiness. Though, while walking down one of the busiest streets in my town, a newspaper caught my eye. It had an article stating, "Murder case of 5 children reopens," in bold letters upon the top. I didn't want to take too long of a glance at it, but I realized that the picture to go along with the title was Freddy Fazbear. I was confused and decided to take a copy and read it. Supposedly, a man dressed up like Freddy Fazbear and lured children away from their parents to kill them. I was shocked and disgusted with whoever would do this. The next couple of months weren't very eventful. None of my childhood friends returned home like I did, even knowing I was here. I saw some old relatives and my parents thought about visiting me, but blew me off, of course. Heck, I even went out on 2 dates with this beautiful girl who I realized was just using me to get back at her ex. I didn't even really do anything special besides that. I just laid around on my couch watching movies and TV shows. Things went on and on like that until November came. November 8th, to be exact. It's my first day on the job. I had little money left, so it was good to finally start getting an income again. It was Monday night, and I was about to head out to the pizzeria. I was a bit excited and worried at the same time. Excited because I was starting a new job at one of my favorite childhood spots, and worried because I would be there all night. I was planning on sleeping the whole day to rest up for the rest of the night, but I just couldn't fall asleep. Oh well, I said to myself, not giving it too much thought. When I arrived at Freddy's, a man was waiting outside for me. Hey, are you the owner? I asked.
Who wants to know?
He responded. I'm Mike. I'm here for the night watch job, I said.
Oh, yes. How could I forget? Who else would be here at 12 a.m.?
Neighborhood watch, I added, laughing slightly. Are you the one who's gonna teach me the basics?
Nah, I'm just the owner, as you guessed. I'm here to give you a pair of keys to the place. Well, Mentor left a message for you in the security office. Well, there you go.
He handed me the keys.
Remember, your shift always starts at 12 a.m. and doesn't end until 6 a.m. You got it?
He asked, sounding a bit anxious. Yeah, of course, I replied.
Good. Well, good night, son. Don't mess this up, or else you're out.
Good night, I called, but I don't think he heard me. I then opened the door to the place. Fortunately, he left it unlocked for me. Not that it's much of a deal if it wasn't. After all, I had the keys. I then looked around the place. A huge sense of nostalgia hit me like a ginormous wave. I then recalled sitting
Hey there, Epic. Nice to see you again, my friend. I'm just watching some creepypastas. However, after this, I'm gonna have to go ahead and call it a stream because I'm getting tired.
There they were.
I sleep, please. I sleep.
Chica, Bonnie, and Freddy. Oh, how nice it was to recite those names again. After I relived my childhood memories, I then scanned the rest of the building, looking for the security office. My guess was that it was in the back of the building, which, of course, it was. I peeked in to see that there was no one there. I walked into the room, somewhat annoyed by the sounds of the rotary fan. I thought about turning it off, but then I realized how warm it was in that room. I had no choice but to keep it running. I also noticed a little beep sound going off every few seconds. I located the sound to be an answering machine. I pressed the play button, and a voice came on. I was surprised and wondered who it was. Could it be my mentor?
Hello? Hello?
It's Phone
hi.
Guy.
I'm the old security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Hopefully you're getting this message. I need to explain to you what to do. Now, I'm actually finishing my last week here. That's why you're getting my job. I got my hours changed to 8 to 11:30 p.m. since I didn't have to stay up so late anymore. Sorry, that's your job now. Now, let me explain to you the basics so you can get through your first week. Now, on the table you're hopefully at, you should see a tablet.
I glanced over to the table and saw that the man was right. There was a large tablet with gray trim sitting on the table. I picked it up and turned it on.
If you see it, turn it on. The first thing you should see is a camera view of the main show stage, along with a lot of different square buttons on a map. Those square buttons are actually all security cameras that you need to check every now and then to make sure that someone or something didn't break into this place. The map is actually a whole layout of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, so you can get a pretty good idea of where things are. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who in the right mind would sneak into a child's place of fun? People aren't the problem here. It's actually the animatronics. You know, Freddy and his pals.
I was confused. I tapped each camera looking around, seeing if anything was in the building. There was nothing, of course.
What I mean by that is,
He continued.
is that the animatronics get a little quirky at night. They're left in some sort of free roam mode at night for some reason, and walk around the whole building. They used to be able to do that during the day.
Hello, Death.
And there was the
Yep.
87.
Long time.
Yeah, I don't want to go too
Hope you've been
deep into
doing
it.
well.
Let me just say that it's shocking that the human body can survive without the frontal lobe.
I was starting to get a little creeped out now, checking the cameras again to make sure nothing was out of the ordinary.
I'm gonna move on now. Now, the characters here, when they see you, they will not see you as a worker, because it's nighttime.
It's
They'll
me,
actually
Sam
see you
Raider,
as
play
a
Monster
ghost
Hunter
killer.
Wilds
Well, that is
with you and
constant.
Panda. Nice to see you, Death.
Now,
And by the way, if you have not subscribed to my channel, do so as you wish. If not, that's fine.
Into a Freddy Fazbear suit. Now, that wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the suits being filled with animatronic devices and cross beams, especially around the facial area. So, you can understand that would cause some discomfort. And,
Discomfort, eh?
the only parts of your body that would see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and your teeth when they pop out of the front of the mask.
Okay. Thank you,
A
Death.
cold chill jolted up my spine. I wasn't sure what to do. I checked the camera once more to see that Bonnie was no longer on the stage. Fear started to grip me, and anxiety plagued my mind while I checked the rest of the cameras. I then saw Bonnie standing in the audience area. I paid close attention to what the man said next.
I just want you to know that there's really nothing to worry about. It may sound scary, yeah, but really, you'll be fine. Now, let me explain to you what happens if a character gets a little too close to you. Next to you, there are buttons for each door. One for closing the door and the other for enabling the door lights.
I tested it out, and of course he was right. The doors and lights would open and close and turn on and off on command. I once again checked the cameras to see that Bonnie was in the hallway right next to me. I was prepared to close the door if it came closer.
Frequently check those lights to see if a character's out there.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
finally, it's 11:05.
If you ever do see a character, close the door. As soon as they're gone, you can open them back up. And also, keep an eye on a specific character in Pirate Cove. It seems to respond if the camera is on or off it for too long. Just don't worry. You'll be fine. First day will be a breeze. Check the cameras and, oh yeah, make sure you don't let it
Oh, excuse me.
You only get a certain amount each night. Using all the appliances wastes more of it. So, conserve it. Talk to you tomorrow. Good night.
The message ended. I checked my cameras, and sure enough, it had a power percentage bar there. It said I had 80%. Wow. 20% gone in just 5 minutes? Maybe it's because I left the screens on all this time. That might be a bad idea. What else did he say? A character in Pirate's Cove? I never remembered that place as a child. I then checked through the cameras until I found Pirate Cove. There was a curtain there, but it was closed. I took it as a good sign, I guess. I then checked the hall where Bonnie was to see if he had moved there. But he wasn't. Checking the camera next closest to me to see that he wasn't there either. I was confused. Surely he wouldn't leave the area. Then something compelled me to check the lights. I checked the right side, and of course nothing was there. And then I turned to my left. The shadowy corridor gave off an ominous feel. Then I hit the light switch, and Bonnie was there, staring at me. I smashed the door button as fast as I could. I was terrified, but then realized that they weren't real people trying to hurt me. They were just robots. I calmed down, and I could hear some footsteps just outside the door. Hesitantly, I reopened the door, and to my surprise, Bonnie wasn't there. The night went on pretty similar to that. Bonnie got close to me a few times, and the curtain at Pirate's Cove opened a little bit, but I couldn't see anything in there. Chica and Freddy stayed up on stage, thankfully, and I just finished the night with 14% power to spare. I overcame my fears of them trying to kill me and simply thought they were just trying to play. I finally left Freddy's and went home to sleep the day away. After that night, I was exhausted. I wonder what the other nights have in store for me.
Nothing pretty, that's for sure. Oh, finally. Son of a gun. Okay, everyone. That's going to be it for today's stream. Thank you, everyone, for coming by. And 10 more subs. 10 more subs. Until the big 1K. Until I wake up and all of a sudden I'm back at 989. Unless someone here has an extra account, but oh well. Anyway, if y'all enjoyed today's stream, please share, like, subscribe if you want to. And I'll see what other kind of thing I can look up on. I'm going to pray and hope I don't have to look up on Harmon Smith. Anyway, have a very good night, everyone. I'll see y'all tomorrow for some more Kingdom Hearts 2. Good night.